Yeah, I guess that would have been edited out.
We almost brought that up. We almost brought that up on a previous show, but Phil was like, "No, let's not."
Y'all are all people than me.
Can't do your boy like that.
No.
I don't want to have to fight him. He's bigger than me.
Most people are bigger than you, Harry. It's just
not that much bigger than me, though.
No. But here we are.
We give Keller enough of a hard time. I don't think
we love Kelly. We love Kelly.
You still think he comes out in the black on it, though. Gives everybody else.
This is true.
Yeah.
No one is safe.
But this is episode 202 of the Herpeticulture Podcast, part of the Herpeticulture Network. Also brought to you by...
I love how we, by default, put a hard pause on the every time.
So you can check which one it is?
Yeah.
The
Herpeticulture Network.
Herpeticulture Network. Often imitated and usually better, but never replicated. No. But, yeah. In this episode, we are joined by Mr. Harry Claiborne of a not named reptile person.
Of too many reptiles.
Because he doesn't want to put a name on his stuff yet. But that's okay. We love him all of the same. If you haven't listened yet, go back. I don't know how many episodes. It was several months ago now.
Almost exactly a year ago, because it was a little bit after Daytona.
Yeah.
Okay.
I think it would be very close.
Yeah. So go back about a year. Check out the first episode we did with Harry. Come back, listen to this, and see how things have changed with Mr. Claiborne. But per usual,
first and foremost,
yes, this episode was brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. The best of the best PVC equipment you can ask for in the industry. Chris Painchab, who is an engineer, just got his stuff, and he was amazed with the quality, which says a lot because Chris Painchab is hard to please. Not really, but he has very high standards. So
he recognizes quality.
He knows quality, and you will too if you order a rack or a cage or whatever you want from BlackBox. No matter what, you will be satisfied. You will be beyond satisfied. You will love it. You will not need another company as long as you are in reptiles.
Your satisfaction is our guarantee. We guarantee.
Absolutely. And if you use code THN at checkout, you will get 10% off your order. So
but if you come back and you say you're not satisfied with it, I'm just going to call you a liar because, I mean,
you're making it up.
Yeah,
you're just full of it.
I don't believe you. Yeah,
but,
not. Yeah, it was nice to hear. So, I hadn't really asked Chris prior to that last Corn Stars episode about because I knew he had gotten his, but I don't know how far along he was with actually putting everything together, getting everything set up, and so when I asked him on the show when we started that episode, it was that was legitimately the first time I had heard him really talk about them, and it was nice to hear that he was
just as satisfied as everybody else. Yeah. That's and this is in all honesty. So Chris Montross of Dark Horse Herp, I'm repping his shirt now. He is genuinely a hard man, not a hard man to please, but he's very picky. I love Chris to death.
He's particular.
He's a particular man. He likes it. He likes his quality stuff. And he went with BlackBox for cages, and he has not gone back. He got 2 or 3 of them, I think, and then months later he went back for more. It's he knows what he likes, and he loves BlackBox. So that's if you can get the Chris duo to BlackBox approve, I mean that's all you need, man. I mean honestly, Chris and Chris both. Chris with a C, Chris with a K. They both love it.
Use the code THN at checkout. Save yourself a little bit of money. Best lead times around. Seriously, you order a cage, you're going to get it within a very reasonable time frame. I believe it's still about 2 weeks once they've started your order, which is usually fairly quick. Chris, I know, ordered his like 3-ish weeks ago, and he got his, in no time. So
yeah,
very fast turnaround. Don't wait forever for your cage. Buy something, and then, oh my gosh, what a concept! It shows up to your door, and you didn't forget that you bought it.
Yep.
And from what I hear, they go together incredibly easily and perfectly.
They do. So we don't really talk about that enough. When I put that Aki cage together, because I put like the Sharphorn cube together from PVCcages.com when he was still around, and like even putting that together, it was a couple spots where it was a little rough because I just couldn't. Doing it by yourself and having like tape to hold things up while you're doing other things, like I was bound to screw at least something up. So that one was tough. But with the BlackBox with that Aki cage, I was like legitimately it was freakishly easy to get it all together. Even by myself, I didn't have any help when I did it, and that was a 3 or 4 foot cage. I think it was a 4 foot.
That was a 4x2x2.
Yeah, and it was easy. And I'm not super handy when it comes to building things. I'm a measure once, cut 40 times kind of guy. Ultimately, I'll end up scrapping something and starting over entirely usually, but BlackBox makes it easy.
Yes, they do. So, and also if you are in the relative area of Budford, Georgia, they do have a pickup option. So if you are able to drive to them and pick up, save yourself some shipping on top of your 10% off with their THN code. Be a good little savings for you. Have a nice little road trip with one of your loved ones. It's a great time. Me and Justin do it.
Yeah, I mean it's an easy trip, even if you just stay overnight at a hotel down the road from where their HQ is and stuff. We're what 4 or 5 hours from them, so it's not unreasonable. It's not a crazy drive or anything like that. So if you're even in the general area, in the southeast, Atlanta is fairly central to a lot of it. So just something to consider. You don't have to get it shipped. You can go and pick it up if you're willing. And I'm pretty sure the amount of gas you put in your car in comparison to like shipping rates and stuff, they're probably fairly comparable. So,
I mean, for us, so me and Justin are, like I said, about 4.5 hours out. We make the drive there back in a day. I have to fill my truck up when we get there. Like I fill my truck up when we leave here, then I fill my truck up when we leave there. 2 tanks of gas is a whole lot cheaper than shipping right now. So
unless you're driving like a Ford F-350 or something, in that case, just rent a semi or something because it'd probably be cheaper.
Yes.
Also, you don't have to go nuts waiting on it.
Yeah.
No. Yep. No. So, and then the man, not a myth, who's been with us for a very long time, Steve Snaketuary with Steve Snaketuary Hot Sauce. Check him out. All the awesome stuff he's doing. All the rehabilitations, all the Asians that I cannot think
relocations,
right
educations,
all of them,
all that. So I need to actually get a hold of Steve because we had some of our people in the Great White North were interested in getting their hands on some of his stuff, and I know like Kiana and Brandon, who were doing Canadian Herpetoculture podcast, did get some, but I think shipping was pretty expensive. I don't know if it like why, but I'll talk to Steve about it because there were some people that were definitely up there wanted to try some. So I'll have to get in touch with him and make sure you figure that out. I don't know. It might be weird too because I know like when I talked to Trey Cold Blooded Caffeine, because I was asking him about shipping international and stuff, and like shipping dry goods like shirts versus shipping food products and agricultural products like coffee.
A little different.
It's very different. So maybe that plays a factor into why it was, more. I don't know, but we'll figure it out either way. Definitely follow on Facebook and Instagram. You can get the whole set of the Venom hot sauces from stevesnaketuary.com. Help him out. He's a first responder. So
yeah, he's a first responder, does a lot of good stuff for this community. He's always on snake calls. He's rehabilitating a lot of snakes. He's there for it all, man. He does a lot for his community. He does a ton of relocations. Like, he's out there catching snakes for people all the time. So that's really, really awesome. He's always just such a good guy. He's a light in the hobby. He's a
Raging Cajun.
Yeah, can't say enough about the guy. He's awesome, and he makes awesome hot sauce. He's out of Louisiana, so he makes great hot sauce. I mean, come on.
They don't play around when it comes to hot sauces, man.
No.
If there's anywhere in the States that is like where I'd like think hot sauce is a staple in pretty much every meal, including breakfast, even if it's cereal, it's probably Louisiana. So.
Yeah. Even their beer is spicy, probably.
And then FulviusApparel.com. Clearly, Harry has been there because he's rocking the Splendid.
He's rocking the
child right now.
And the
rather long Alterna hat.
He's wearing the hat and the shirt.
Yeah.
Damn, Harry, you haven't even had that hat that long.
I know.
How did you do that?
Like what?
I'm a sweaty boy.
I'm a sweaty boy.
No, I mean, I wear this
great.
one like at work and stuff, and this one's already like it accumulates.
No, I don't know. I also could probably like wash it or something, but yeah.
I find, dude, I don't know, man.
I've never
washed structured hats. It ends up in disaster and they get ruined. Yeah. So.
I always hear the dishwasher, but I'm pretty sure I'd get yelled at if I put one of these nasty things in our dishwasher.
I mean, I put snake dishes in the dishwasher, and I don't hear about it. So
yeah.
But just do it while she's at work. Nobody has to know.
She's gonna hear us.
Right, run a whole cycle, and she won't even know.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure if I did dishes, she'd be fine with it, no matter if I snuck a few things in it.
No, if you did dishes, she would know something was up. Right?
Yeah, she'd be like, "What did you do?
What's in there?"
Oh, I'm kidding. I'm good for some dishes every now and then.
Every now and then. No, I feel that. Well,
Fulvius Apparel on Facebook and Instagram, fulviusapparel.com. Also, use the code THN at checkout. Get 15% off your order. That is exclusive to THN listeners and viewers like you. Just added these Scott Condro shirts on there literally just before we started. I'm still going to get hoodies on there at some point. Time has not been my friend, so...
He's got a awesome obsolete anarchy shirt on there that everybody should check out because that's freaking sick. I'm waiting to get mine. I have not gone over there to pick it up, but I want it so badly.
Dude, I printed some of those I did on the like if they got like the gray color, they were printed on these soft style 980s, which are like this really nice ring spun cotton shirt, and they are like stupid soft. Like I like them more than the regular soft styles, but they only come in a handful of colors and they're all like fairly monochromatic, so color options are limited. Otherwise I'd be using those almost exclusively. But yeah, those 980s, dude, it's a great shirt. It's comfortable.
Is that what mine's in, or is it not?
Yes.
Oh,
I believe so.
Extra soft.
That's what this is. And I mean, I literally printed this today. I didn't even washed it, so yeah,
I'm with it.
It's all good.
But so getting into this, before we jump headfirst into Harry's life, Justin,
Harry and the Hendersons.
Do you have any updates?
Not particularly. I lost one of the little hypo babies. It was like the runniest one of the bunch.
That sucks.
Came out super tiny. Like as soon as I saw it after it shed and stuff, I was like, you're not going to be here very long, because it was just so small and just didn't do well. And there's actually another one that's fairly similar that may turn around. I don't know. We'll see. But other than that, everyone else is doing great.
What about the rhinos? How are the rhinos?
Rhinos are doing good. I need to, so I haven't offered them any pinkies lately because I haven't had any day olds. I haven't had any day old litters drop.
Yeah.
So I've been kind of waiting for that, but I may just end up going back and getting some PetSmart pinkies. But the last time I got some of those, like I told you, like they like were falling apart. Like I thawed them out and they were just like almost disintegrating. Like it took very little to get those things to like fall apart and rip open. It was horrible. It was gross.
Why don't you do like pinky heads or like pinky parts?
I could. So actually what I did with some of the corns, because I didn't have enough pinkies, is I started cutting a leg off of like a rat pup. And that actually worked out really well. So that may be something, if I'm waiting on more pinkies to show up, instead of like a tail or something, having a hind leg or something cut sort of at the body, is still a decently substantial meal, I think, for babies.
It's got some meat on it.
I think it offers enough. So
yeah,
that's a good alternative that, I think I myself especially never really put a whole lot of thought to, is like you can take bits off of other things and feed them if you're out of your main option. It's there. So
yeah,
might roll with that some more. But other than that, everyone's doing fine.
Good.
So nothing new.
Well, updates for me, again, nothing much new. The last clutch hatched last week sometime. Still waiting on them to shed out before I start feeding trials. Those were the Pasco counties. I do have a couple pair of Pasco County yellow rats. If anybody's interested, I'll hook it up. I also have male Santa Rosa County grays, if anybody's interested. And they are starting to shed for their second time finally. And oh my God, I want to keep all of them. It's very rough. There was one I was like, oh, he's pretty nice. I might keep him. Then the other one I kind of liked a little bit more. So I kind of, tagged him as the keeper. Then that other one shed and I was like, oh no, this is bad. So
did you keep holdbacks from any of those?
Yeah, the grays,
okay.
the Santa Rosas, I'm keeping 2.1 because there's a male that So I'm keeping two males because the male I originally decided to keep matched the female I was keeping like to a T, and he was the only one that matched her really well. So I was like, okay, he's the best one to keep. But then there's another male that just like a lot of them have like they have all their saddles, but then the male I originally kept had like this blown out white within the saddle, and that's how the female was. So that's why I kept him, and a lot of them have a little bit of the blowout in the saddles, a little bit of red. But there's one male that was the cleanest of the bunch. Like he's got no freckling really. He's just super duper clean, but his saddles were like red. And I was like, well, I really want to see how that turns out. So I'm probably keeping him too. But now there's another male who's got this weird wacky pattern going on. His saddles are turning red. So I'm like, I don't know what to do. So that sucks.
None of them are going anywhere.
Right. So, but no, I have to get rid of these things. I can't keep 3 males of them. So we'll see. But definitely gonna have, I think, either 2 or 3 pairs of the Pasco yellows available. And those are really, really unique little rat snakes. They didn't even shed and they're already starting to turn yellow, which I was not expecting. They're all basically yellow at this point. It's kind of wild, varying degrees, but
Ooh, yellow rats being yellow, weird.
But normally they hold that gray and white for.
Yeah, you say that, but there's a lot of gray yellow rats out there.
Yeah, like these things, like baby yellows stay gray for at least a little while. These haven't even shed again, and they're turning yellow, which I found kind of weird. There's a lot of variation in them, so that's super cool. But I also had an experience I wanted to share with the class.
You got it proed by
that,
didn't you?
No. That happened in the last 24 hours less. So I went to feed quarantine. I fed my entire collection on Tuesday. I had to take off work because I had a doctor appointment, and then my girlfriend ended up having to go into work. So I had the house to myself for like 8 hours. So I was like, fuck it, let's feed every single fucking snake in my collection. So that's what I did, and it took me like 7 hours. So between all the babies and every snake in here, it took me like 6-7 hours. It was ridiculous. But So I got down to the last few snakes in quarantine because I fed everything in the collection first, made sure everybody ate, didn't have to come back in here, went and did quarantine. And I got down to the last 3 snakes, which are my lemon rat snakes, the visual male 2 het females. And one of the het females was gone. Gone. Very much not in her enclosure. So I was like, damn it, I pulled a Smitty. Like, here we go. This sucks. Right. And it's one thing if they're in the snake room, I can manage with that. But these are in my kitchen. So they had free range of my entire house. And I was like, oh God, this is bad. So
welcome to hell.
Yeah. So I let my girlfriend know. I let my roommate know. And I was like, hey, like, this happened. It was what it was. I dealt with it. So what I did, I really was not comfortable doing this, but I felt like it was my only option because it was such a large space. I've had some people tell me about using glue traps to catch loose snakes. I really don't like the idea of it. I was very afraid to do it, but I had 2 very reputable people tell me it works. Snakes have been fine. Just check them every day.
Jason Keller is not
quick, right? Yeah, I've always heard as long as you find them quick.
Yeah,
if you're gonna do that.
Yeah. So I said this was Tuesday. Tuesday got out. Luckily, I already had glue traps here from when I had a baby not get out, but it got lost because it bolted out of the enclosure under a rack and then it just fucking disappeared. So I went to Lowe's, got glue traps, and then I came back and it was sitting on my floor. So I found that, didn't have to use the glue traps. It was great. So I already had 4 glue traps sitting here in my room. So I went and got said glue traps and I set them around my kitchen. I had 4 of them. I put them all in like different corners, but I was like, it's probably in the kitchen. Problem is, there's like the small gap between like my running boards on the bottom of my floor and the actual floor. It's a small gap. And I was like, this fucker's in the walls. Like, it ain't coming back. I really thought this thing was going to be gone. So I got home from work yesterday, Wednesday, and nothing. Glue traps were empty. And I get home today and I go look at one of the traps and it's like pulled to the side behind the rack. And I'm like, oh my God. So I pulled the rack out and sure enough, that thing was on the glue trap. And I was like, holy shit, it's there. So I got it off the glue trap. But see, the thing was, I was kind of convinced I wasn't going to get it. So I didn't really think ahead to what I do when it's stuck on the glue trap. And then it was stuck on the glue trap. And I was like, holy shit, what did I do? Yeah. So that's actually exactly what I did. So I actually got it off the trap. The traps I got weren't normal, like sticky traps. These had this green goo on it and it was really like stretchy. It was weird. So I could actually get the snake off the trap with relative ease, but it was covered in this sticky stuff. And I'm like, oh my God, like I just fucked up. This is terrible. And I started with Dawn dish soap and water and that kind of helped. But then I messaged my buddy and he was like, use virgin olive oil. So I had some and I poured some in a tub and I just started wiping this thing down with olive oil. And sure enough, I pretty much got all the sticky shit off of it. And then I let it soak in some water, calm down. Then I let it soak in water with dish soap in it to kind of get any residue off of it. And yeah, we're good to go. So yeah. So snake retrieved, crisis averted. And,
I thought you were going to say that you filled up the rack space because you didn't think he was going to come back.
Oh, no. No. This is only a matter of literally less than 48 hours, at least from when I found it. I have no idea how long it was gone. It could have been gone a few days.
It's always the worst part. Is now
because I hadn't checked them in a few days.
Been gone for 5 hours or 5 minutes. Like
right.
Thing could be across the street.
That's right.
Right. It's outside just fucking a yellow rat right now. But yeah, no. So
No.
that was best case scenario. It was very nerve wracking. But if you have a snake get loose in a larger area, glue traps work. Just make sure you use olive oil and check those traps every single day, or your snake will die from stress. So yeah, glue traps definitely work, but to get them off the actual trap or to get all the sticky shit from off of them, use virgin olive oil and make sure you wash the snake severely afterwards. So yeah, she was not happy, but she was tongue flicking. She bit me, and I took that as a good sign. So yeah,
It's their love language.
yeah.
Right.
I call it a win. You know, very stressful, and like I said, I did not think it through to the end, but it worked out. So if you're ever in that scenario, it works. It's not fun, but it works.
Sometimes I open my pantry and I wonder how the male Jansen I got in there that one time.
Yeah, that's kind of crazy.
Especially on like the particular shelf he was in. I mean, those things climb. But I still look at the pantry and I'm like, you really didn't have a ton of space to do this. My pantry's tiny. It's very narrow. But I just remember like looking everywhere and then I'm like, let me look in here. And then sure enough, up there hanging out under a thing of breadcrumbs, there he was.
Under a thing of breadcrumbs.
Wonder what their day was like to get to
That's
that.
right.
Right.
It was like an Assassin's Creed level for them to get up there, and then you just come and get them and put them back in their tank.
Well, the problem is I then made the stupid mistake of putting it back in the tub that it escaped from the first time, not knowing where it got out of, because I still can't figure, to this day, I still don't know exactly how the hell it got out of that thing, because I looked high and low as to how, like, where a hole was, like, how it could have happened. Still can't figure it out. Shimming the glass and everything still, like, literally just Houdini, like, ghosted through the wall.
Right.
But that's, I mean, the second time because he got out again, of course, because at that point I was like, okay, this tub's garbage, getting rid of it. He was out for a few days, and I mean, that's not a small snake. He wasn't like a massive Jansenii. He still isn't, but he was on the lam for a couple days, and I was like, no idea how something like that can hide for that long and not be noticed by three people, a cat and a dog, which I'm sure Archie did see it a few times and was probably like, oh my God, Dad, here, somebody help.
Dude, I had a 5-foot carpet python gone. Like, this was years ago. I had like a 5-foot carpet python that was gone for like 3 days until it opened a rack, let another snake out, and destroyed my counter. And luckily I was home and heard it and got both of them.
The chondros at least are easy, because those
they just go up
somewhere and they're just sitting there.
Right. Now, I think rat snakes are probably the worst snakes to have get out in general, because they're wild cards. They could be on the ground, they could be up high. But I do think this gray rat got the one that got out for me was actually in the walls, because when I found it, like part of its body was under one of the cracks. Not a part, it was like some of its tail was under the crack, and it was like trying to pull into it because it was only its front half that was stuck on the thing, but it was trying to pull up underneath. And I was like, yeah, you bitch, you were in the walls. I know you were. You know?
It's all fun and games until you're cutting the lining out from under your sofa.
Yeah, right. God. Yeah. So with that said, this was actually one of those blue lidded like snap tubs that we use, Justin.
Mm-hmm.
And I am switching everything out of anything that's in those snap tubs. I am never not those, Harry. Those are gasket. These are like these are Dollar Tree tubs that you just push the lid down and it snaps.
Yeah.
I am switching from those because I don't know if somehow some of them can figure out a way to pop them open, or if I'm just an idiot and sometimes forget to snap them closed.
If I have to use those for anything, I put several of these binder clips on them, and that's the only way that I trust myself to use them. Is
I can get those at Dollar Tree too, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
that's actually not a bad idea. I might have to do that
all day long, man.
But I'm probably gonna go to switching to actually like clip tubs that snap on the ends, because it just makes me feel better. I haven't had stuff get out of those. I know certain tubs that won't let anything get out, and I don't know if it's just me being negligent and not snapping the lid on all the way or what. But I am moving away from all of those. Yeah, right, I have a bunch of those.
Yeah, like those little binder clips work great for that.
Mm-hmm. I use the red ones. Like I have bigger red ones from Staples that I got, and I actually use those to mark certain animals. If it's an animal that I know is either like kind of may or may not eat, so I may have to check to see if there's a mouse sitting there, or if there's one particular animal that I need to watch. Like I had baby corns, the ones that were non-starters, they'd have a red clip on their lid, on the little tab that hangs off the edge, off the corner. Just clip it to that, and then that helps me keep track of like if I need to watch them for any reason. Females especially, like I'm waiting on a pre-lay shed, or I'm waiting on eggs. Like, got a clip on them just in case. Like, just makes things easy to spot.
I'm gonna have to start doing that because I have a million of those clips from when I was using them for like tags, for ID tags, until I moved to the actual like label printer.
Yeah.
So I have a million of those. Just little.
We all about things. That painter's tape around here, baby.
I was too for a long time, but man, I got one of those little brother label makers from Walmart for like. Maybe
you got one right after I got one. I was like, dude, it's the best shit ever.
Yeah,
I told you. Because
I was a masking tape person for a very long time too. But the problem is like if I leave it on there for a long time, it eventually like smudges and fades, and then I can't even really.
Eventually, you've got to wash that tub, and that
right.
Yeah. Then the clock starts ticking on that tape.
Yep.
But it's super easy. I've got mine's right here. Got this little.
You got like the heavier duty one compared to
what I got a small one.
Mine's but I mean mine's like the size of like a sidekick.
Oh, really?
Mine's not very big.
Well, this thing is fantastic, man. You sit there and just type in all the little tidbits you need on there, and it's great. You can see them behind me, all the labels on all of these.
Jaggedly painter's tape on all of mine.
Yeah, it looks great because I have shit handwriting, especially if I have to write really small, which I do. This just works great. You have different sizes that you can use. You can use little small letters. And again, shout out to Chris Montross. He came over and saw the collection, saw my tags. He's like, "Why the fuck are you doing that?" I was like, "I don't know. It's easy." He's like, "Dude, you can get a label printer for $20 or less." And it'll look that much better. It looks so much better. It's so easy. And I'm like, are they really that cheap? And he's like, yeah, dude, go to Walmart.
They used to be crazy expensive, and some of like the higher end ones still are. Like some of the
like
for sure. Bigger Brother brand, like Brother's expensive stuff. Period. They have like DTG printers for shirts that are like $25,000, and I really want some. But I'll probably never get them.
This is a Dymo Letra tag. Literally Walmart. This was $15-20.
I got a Brother P-Touch.
Nothing. P-Touch.
I don't know why they called it a P-Touch.
That's fitting.
But it's a good little unit. Like it's exactly what I need for what I'm using it for. It definitely. I've gone through like at least 2 rolls of tape so far. But it comes with 2, I think, when you buy it, which is all right.
Mine came with 2, and I rolled through. No, I came with 1. And I bought another one thinking I wouldn't go through 2 rolls, and then I did. So I'm on my 3rd one now, and I have pretty much everything except the carpets right now have tags on them. So yeah, works great. I love it. Again, huge shout out to Chris Montross for that recommendation. It makes it look so much more sleek having just the printed tabs on them, man. I absolutely love it.
My only gripe is wishing I could have a middle option between like the large and smaller, like text size.
Mine's got how many different sizes does yours have?
Mine just has like a large and a small, and like the small is really small, like really hard to read, and then the large is like that's what I use, but I go through more tape because it's taking up more space. So
okay, yeah. See, mine
in the middle there.
I'm looking at mine now. I've got extra large. I've got extra large, large, medium, small, extra small.
Yeah, mine just has 2. So.
Ton of options. The only thing I don't like about this is it's not like a keyboard. It's A through Z, like on this. So when I'm trying to type, I'm thinking of it like a phone keyboard, It takes me so much longer to
His
type stuff
millennial
out.
fingers just
No, it's very,
but
it's not even that. It's because, like on a keyboard when you type too, because I'd send a lot of emails at work and stuff. So I'm on a keyboard, all the time, between texting people and sending emails at work. I'm used to a certain layout on them, but when it's A through Z, I'm like, where's the F? It messes me up. But that is my only gripe with that, and it's such a small thing that it doesn't even matter. I spent probably 2 hours in here when I first got it labeling everything because it's also fun. It's fun to sit there and print out labels. I don't know why it's oddly satisfying, but it is.
And you couldn't do just half of it and then get up and walk away and go do something else.
No,
absolutely not.
Absolutely not. It has to be everything. So yeah, do that. It works great. Love it. But Harry,
how them Leonis?
Mostly good.
Mostly good.
They're the Jonas, so there's got to be something.
Well, I mean, you're going to have holdouts. I've got holdouts. You don't have holdouts, Justin. All yours 8 right away.
Yeah, but I've only got 2. So
yeah,
statistically, I'm probably all right. When you get into the higher numbers like you did, statistically,
you got a whole sack of the damn things all at once.
And you got a bunch of non-feeders, didn't you?
Yeah, oh no, I'm pretty sure all of them were, except for 2 that I got, were all out of the egg, non-feeding, like just little wet, practically wet baby. Leonis, and I mean, going into that, it's going to be a pain, but they really overall weren't. I have a couple that I've had to throw the kitchen sink at, and I expected it. But
that reminds me, I got to go check one to see if it ate.
I've got a couple in there that are staring at lizard goo covered pinkies right now. I guarantee it.
So how has, since our last episode, it's been almost a year like we discussed, how has, if at all, obviously you added Leonis. I know you added a bunch of stuff, but tell us how your collection has changed in the last year. What's happened? Where have you put more focus on? Give us the rundown, man.
Not necessarily so much a shift of focus as a
addition,
foot on the gas. But no, more Getula. Actually, Molly, being the forward thinker of us, made a list earlier because she was like, "You're going to want this."
There you go.
Snakes acquired since August. Look at that.
Damn.
23 new snakes, which is why I don't count.
This is since last August or a year ago?
No, this is since, since Daytona, since Daytona. Lots of Leonis and Alterna. Just went down the Montaigne rabbit hole hard. I mean, I already had some Alterna, but just always wanted more of those and did the damn thing. We've got a whole pile of those little white ones that I think you guys both probably saw at Daytona.
Yeah. I played with those.
Not.
Yeah.
I did not.
They were in Chris's room. I was checking those out. I was looking at each and every one of them.
They are they're all wonderful. I got that little milk snake phase from Chris that I believe you got one of as well. Yours gave you far less trouble than mine is still giving me. She ate a she ate a live pinky the other day. That's the first thing she ever ate about a week and a half ago, and I was getting worried. I was like, of all of you, this one I don't want to die.
Don't die.
Yeah, like come on, like I like you all, but I really like you. And she ate and then shed and now won't eat again. So it's the dance we do. Not out of the woods yet, but that's okay.
Yeah.
It's just fun though, man. I enjoy that. I'm sick in the head. I enjoy having to be like, why won't you eat? Come on, eat. Because it's like
the pain hurts.
It hurts so good.
It hurts so good.
The cocktail of happy chemicals when you see one of these things eat something for the first time. It's nice. But no, piled on the Leonis. Piled on some more Alterna. Got a really, really pretty pair of Blair's Phase at Daytona, and got a pair of 9 Mile North out of the egg babies from one of Chris's friends, Austin. And those are absolute little cocktail straws. One ate right off the rip. The other one is the other one requiring the kitchen sink treatment. So that's fun. But yeah, just basically, I've just been loading up on king snakes now that I'm sitting here looking at this list. Like I've got some more Splendies because I can't turn them down while I have the shirt. What else? God, basically, I owe half of my recent boom in my collection to Chris Painshaw. I'm sure neither of you can relate to that.
Yeah, I think we can all attest to that one.
I had purged my house of corn snakes, and that has been undone. Thanks to a couple of little freebies in a box that I got recently from him with one of those vertebralis, which I have to talk about because that thing is awesome. I have looked at it once. I haven't. I don't pretend I don't have it. It eats, and I'm assuming drinks water.
It eats and it does.
I know it's in there. Sometimes it slips up, but no, just lots of king snakes and a few little other odds and ends. Kings and rats, which is pretty much the theme of this house now, barring any little oddballs. Somebody gave me a yearling Dumerals boa. Speaking of non-feeders, a yearling Dumerals boa that has never once showed any interest in eating, and I've been doing battle with that. I guess it's a local friend of mine who's a very accomplished boa breeder, and she was like, "Man, look, you get Alterna to eat all the time. Here, try this." And I'm like, "What is this? What do I do with this?" And so we
I don't know what to do with my hands.
This is a different animal, but so yeah, it's on the list of pains in my ass right now, but it's very pretty. Can't say that I'm sad it's here.
It is very pretty animal.
I just wish it would eat.
Isn't it? It's just so frustrating because it's like you know that it's just like this small thing you're missing, but you don't know what it is, and it's just in this massive.
I honestly don't know with this thing because it has no like defense about it, no nippiness, no anything. It's just wants to run from you, or it's just cool and it sits there. It's like if you mess with it enough, it's like, get away from me. No desire. Like I would be so excited if it showed like a little bit of defensiveness, because I'd be like, okay, that's
I can work with that.
You got some fire in you, but it's just
Right.
like, I'm good. I don't
Just let me die, man.
Yeah.
Just let me die.
I'm also horrible at force feeding anything with any size to it. Like I can, cram a tail down a baby king snake. Not that I like doing that. I hate doing that, but anything more than that, and it's probably just as stressful for me as it is for the damn animal. And I hate it. But that's
Will it not even like assist feed or anything like that?
No, it will spit something back out. Like it's Team Ramrod like all day. Like, yeah.
Damn.
And it's beautiful and it acts totally normal. And honestly, I haven't, really even done that since I've had it. I've only had it a couple of months. It hasn't lost any weight. It's just been sitting there not eating. But no, I got to do a little more digging on that. I'm sure somebody knows what to do.
I wonder if it's like a seasonal thing though, where if like you cooled it, not like a serious cooling like you would with colubrids and stuff, but if you gave it, cooler temperatures in the house somewhere, and then
light cycle,
and then maybe come spring warmed it back up. Because I'd imagine with Madagascar and stuff that they're very seasonal feeders, and there's probably a decent chunk of the year where they're not eating, and maybe that's the case here where it's just like that's where it's at right now.
If it stays too linear all year or too stagnant, as far as like temperature swings and stuff goes.
You try birds at all?
I've tried chick down. I don't have anything I would kill for like some little live baby button quail.
I was about to say, try button quail, man.
There's a
how far are you? You're away from Sky though, because Sky.
Yeah, he's got the Coturnics or whatever, however you say.
Yeah,
that.
he doesn't have button quail.
I want the little bumblebee chicks. You know.
Yeah, button quail and Coturnics quail are very different. Coturnics are a lot larger.
Molly's got a coworker that breeds button quail, and I've got a couple eggs from her in the past for my egg eater, who did not appreciate them either. He wants finch eggs. I don't know why I'm drawn to these assholes feeding wise, but no, I don't know that she would be too keen on just handing me a little newborn. Oh yeah, I got a boa that won't eat. Yeah,
just
like,
tell
look,
her. Just tell her.
Good.
Tell her you want it. You just want a pet, and then it died when she asked where it is.
Somebody suggested that I just get some more eggs for her or from her and put them under one of my chickens, but all I think about is what sort of creative ways that could turn into a nightmare.
Yeah.
Or I would be attached to them because there's always that possibility. I mean,
yeah, dude, button quail are too adorable. That would suck. I mean, baby quail in general are just fucking adorable little creatures.
Oh, speaking of eaters. Oh, go ahead, Harry.
I was just gonna say, Doomeral's boa eating something would be pretty adorable too, right now. Though,
that would
up
be
in the air on what I care about more.
Yeah,
I was cleaning rats last weekend, and in one bin, I had 2 hairless weaned ones. Which I thought was, yeah.
They just popped up?
Yeah.
Keep those little bastards. If it's a male and female, breed them together, make hairless rats. I'll get every single one.
Well, I mean, I don't necessarily have to breed them together because clearly that gene is floating around in that particular group. But
but if you breed them together, if it's like a recessive gene, you might get a bunch of them.
Is hairless recessive, or is it like?
I have no idea.
I don't know. It's just there. I just thought it was interesting.
Worth a try, though.
My mom used to do hairless Dumbos, and they were the weirdest looking.
Yeah, well, I'm more concerned about those in these cooler temperatures and stuff, and like I'm sure they probably don't handle cold very well.
Yeah,
no.
So I have to start. It's going to be that time of year. I'm gonna have to start adding decent pads of hay into the bins and stuff, so they can nest in them and sort of they'll get under it and they'll warm up, and I'll start giving them more boxes and stuff to hide in and things like that.
Do you heat that shed at all?
No, but I've talked to Jake. I want to get one of those oil-filled heaters or something, even if it's just to warm up sort of that particular corner that they're in that, just to keep it a few degrees, especially if it gets
like knock the snap off in the morning for a couple hours.
Yeah, because it's not being
being
such an open shed and it not being insulated like that. It's definitely not going to heat the whole thing, but it could probably heat a corner at least somewhat. You know. Yeah, especially if you have it right up next to them.
I don't want to use anything other than an oil-filled one, though, for sure, because I feel like that's just a fire hazard.
I don't trust anything that isn't oil-filled. I've got an oil-filled heater sitting right in front of me right now that stays in the snake room, literally runs year-round. I have one in the garage for cooling when it gets super-duper cold. I fucking love these things, man. They're
I gotta get
amazing.
Gotta grab one eventually.
They're not that. They're really not that expensive for Walmart.
Well, if I want to go to Lowe's and see if, or maybe even Tractor Supply has some options that are meant for like bigger spaces like that. But I want to look around and see if I can find something that's larger than sort of the standard household size one. Let's see.
Yeah, you're worth a look. Definitely going to be a little bit more expensive, but.
I would consider switching a lot of my stuff to ambient if I had one of those. I run a tiny bit of back heat on a lot of these kings and stuff. I mean, and it's only like a couple of degrees, like it's barely anything. Like,
I love ambient. Like it's hard in here. Like the pythons obviously still have like back heat, belly heat. But as far as colubrids go, my room. Like I let it fluctuate because like I don't like stagnant. I don't like the same all the time. So there's always a night drop. Like, I turn it down at night, let it get into the mid to high 70s. Then during the day, I let it get up to 80, 82. So it does have that fluctuation because I don't think a constant 80 degrees 24/7, 365 is good. I don't like that idea. But I give thicker layers of bedding and I do ambience on the colubrids. But most colubrids are so tolerable as far as temperatures. Like a lot of them could stay mid 70s year round and probably be fine.
Oh, yeah. I've had things that I've just kept off heat in here and they do fine. Like actually these rat snakes back here.
Yeah.
It stays in like the mid to high 70s. And,
dude,
those rat snakes eat weekly and shed and grow like weeds. It's a bunch of babies from Mike Kosicki. They're awesome, by the way.
Yeah.
Really another thing that I've probably gotten since
that's the last one.
Yeah,
for sure. No, I think I think colubrids can do because like, dude, when I started running heat, like when I first was really getting colubrids, I was doing more heat on them, and they just seemed antsy all the time. Like my room was still saying like high 70s, but they just seemed antsy. They were always running, always at the front, always doing something, just going all the time. And I was like, something's off. So I pulled heat off them and I started running ambience and all that kind of calmed down. They really only do that when they're hungry, they're looking for food, especially the pits. The pits, like, you can't keep pits super hot. Like, I don't like keeping
pits angry.
Yeah, you gotta let them go into power save mode every now and then, man.
Yeah, so especially with the pits, ambient was the best thing I ever did for my room. I really prefer to have some type of gradient, but with the pythons, I keep the ambient in here kind of high, which it works perfectly for the colubrids. So it works great. Like I said, I do a night drop every night, so nobody's staying constant, every day. But I think that's good for them.
I think that constant is actually a lot harder to achieve than you think.
Yeah.
And that comes from finally getting some gobies and just watching how like the house itself fluctuates. And because that's an addiction. You get some of those and you're like, oh, I wonder what
so much fun.
I wonder what happens over here.
Yeah.
put in there, And like it's just really fun to watch how all that maps out after like having them in places for a while.
You got them hanging from the ceiling like the air freshener scene in 7.
I really need to get some of those and get on.
Dude, I just got a little 3-pack, and honestly, I could use about 10
12
or 15
of those. Yeah.
No, like I would put them everywhere and like know where they all were, and like it's become part of like my routine. Like, oh, I wonder what I got a big Exoterra in my living room with a Gulf hammock rat in it, and I was like, I wonder what this tank does. Like, I wonder how it so I've literally got one like zip tied to a perch in there where I can like read it or like it's just fun, man.
So
like,
the only thing I wish they did with those was have some way to where if you have multiples of them, you can identify what's what on your phone. Because if you don't have them, like it's to the point now where if I have a handful of them and I write numbers on them with a Sharpie.
Yeah, I was gonna say if you don't mark them, like
if you don't mark them and you have them on the app and they're in the same room, you have no way of knowing what's what. So I either have to put them in the fridge for a few minutes or figure like.
Yes,
it's really frustrating. Like
yes,
like a color or something of the light that blinks, a beep or something that can help me tell me.
I opened the box, put the batteries in them, and like labeled them all, and set them all next to each other on a table, and turned around and was like, "Oh, shit!" And I had to like do like a little experiment. I was like, "Okay, well, put this one under a light, put this one in the fridge, and I had to like." Sherlock my way into which one was which before I could.
Well, I had one in particular that was dead. Like I think it was one that I left in the incubator in an egg box, and it had gotten too wet and it just died.
Yeah.
But I could not figure out which one it was because the other ones were still going, and the dead one.
Does it send a signal? Does it like register anything on like the app when it's dead, or is it just like flatline?
No. But
damn,
I couldn't figure out which one it was. And it just they need some way to like
Can you label that? Because it's all run off an app, right? You look at everything on
Right.
the app.
But you have to label them.
Can you
as you're putting them in there.
label? Can you label them in the app as well? Like,
Yeah,
can you give
but
them a
I'm
name?
saying, like,
Oh,
if
okay.
you don't have them marked, you don't know which one it is on the app that you're looking at if they're in the same room.
Right. Yeah.
So, like,
No,
I can have them on my app 1 through 3, but if I don't have them actually labeled 1 through 3,
Yeah. No, I hear you.
yeah.
You sync them all up to your phone and set them next to each other on the table, and they all look the same. And you're like,
Yeah.
I do them one at a time and put them somewhere, or like, right on them.
So the only thing, I think the only reason I haven't done that yet, which I'm going to, but I think the biggest reason I haven't yet is because once I start doing that, I'm gonna become kind of obsessed, and if something seems off, I'm gonna try and fix it. Whereas as of now, everything's fine. Nobody's got any problems. It's not a thing. But if I'm not like, oh, that corner is like a degree too cold, then I'm gonna heat up. I'm gonna heat up my entire fucking room, and it's just gonna be
just move around.
a nightmare.
I like to see where we're at in like the Jansenite cage, because I put one in there when I had them. They're on top of the Aggie cage, so like that cage sitting on it does get warm on the hot end because of the bulb and stuff. And so I hung a Govee in there to see exactly where it was at. And I mean, it was perfect. It worked out. But like putting them on top of shelves to see how warm it is at the top, close to the ceiling, putting them on the bottom, to see how cool it is. When I have stuff in cooling, I'll put one on top of the stacks so I can monitor, like when things get really, really chilly, I can keep an eye on where they're at.
See, I could see that coming in handy more when I'm cooling everything. Like I would keep those in the garage for those days that get like really cold here, and then monitor that a little better. My room, like I have a ceiling fan in here, and it's on high all day, every day. The fan never gets turned off. So I think
the Govee to that.
I think, yeah, right. Watch it just get slung around. But so I think my ambient in here is pretty well across the board, because like it's my fan goes, yeah, you're right, but my fan is really strong, and like to the point to where I can't keep, if I'm have a loose paper towel on top of my little rack thingy that I wheel around in here, a little cart, it just blows off. Everything blows off. So it's a pretty strong fan, so I don't worry about that too much. I've got pretty much blowing directly on my heater, so it kind of expands.
That's one thing that over the last year I probably should have got instead of a couple of these snakes, which I that's a lie. I wouldn't get is a rolling cart for in here, because
dude.
Yeah,
if
I know.
If you don't have a cart, it's a game changer. All you have to do, go to Walmart, get one of those wheelie carts that's, like
I went
the
to Harbor
baker's
Freight
rack
and found a really cool one. I think they only had like the display model, and it looked like it had been like Spartan kicked. And I was like, okay, well, I don't want that one. And I never went back. So,
dude, go to Walmart. So you know what the metal baker's racks look like, right?
Yeah. They have like a cart.
They make a cart version of that, man. Come on, they're like, I
gotta
50,
have a
60
solid
bucks.
surface. I can't have the
they make like a hard plastic one, like a gray, like one.
Those are really expensive
though. Wow, they are. You can get them on sale. Northern Tool has them for a fairly decent price.
There's one at Harbor Freight for like 65, and there's one for like $120, and it's significantly better looking. Like it's got a paper towel roll holder on it, and I was like,
oh yeah,
sold. Like I'll just
daddy. Oh,
I was like that. Talk dirty to me, like that. The dumb little things that I like,
dude. I see that right there. If I found one with a paper towel holder, I would spend the extra $50 just for that.
I'm telling you, like it's 4 inch in my plans. I was like,
towel holders either, man.
Now I have to look at
the crappiest one they make, and then I was like, oh boy, look at that. That's swanky.
See, the one I have though, like it's one of those metal ones, but it's got little hooks on the side, and I keep my feeding tongs on there, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect. My tongs stay on there, my hooks stay on one side of it, and I'm like, this is perfect.
I've just ruined the walls in here with like putting screws and like hanging crap, like you would in a garage for hanging all your tools.
You get one of those magnetic chef strips that they use for knives.
Yeah,
that's a great idea. Yeah. So yeah, dude, the cart was a game changer, especially because I got it When did I get the cart? I think it's been quite a while now, but man, it's a game changer, man. I know there was somebody that bought one. It wasn't too long ago. Somebody in our group was like, "Oh my god, I just bought a cart. What have I been missing?"
Like I've got like a little fold out like card table thing here, and it just sucks.
Yeah,
dude. That thing's gonna go in like a dumpster as soon as I get a cart. Like,
see, mine though, because my room isn't that big, and like all this stuff like kind of encompasses. Like, it's nice that I have to move it. Smitty, yours can pretty much stay stationary. That I understand. Your table definitely works for your room, but with mine, with mine, all I do is just like turn it. Like as I go around the room, I just rotate it to the way that works for me. Because like all my stuff stays like on the other two shelves, and then like my standalone tubs that are on the baker's rack, I pull those off, I'll put it on the top of it, and then take off the lid, do what I need to do, and everything's right there, man.
You actually have room for a table like the one I have in my room. I don't. It takes up so much space, dude.
It does.
My room. I'm so frustrated with my room right now because of how small it is and how much I got going on in there. Like it gives me freaking anxiety all the time.
You have a lot of snakes for a very small room.
I do, and it's super frustrating because it's like I have a Bio-G that doesn't have anything in it at the moment, but I don't want to put it in the garage here because then it'll get all cobwebby and gross and dusty.
Stick something in the Bio-G. What are you doing? Like,
it might be a Getula, but I'll send you something.
No.
Stick a corn snake in there, man. Come on now.
Put a big old Apalachicola King in that thing.
It would be interesting to put a corn in there and see what it does.
Break you of that habit.
Yeah. No, man, I'm actually about to redo my entire room. Like, probably, I was planning on doing it this weekend. I may go get some tubs this weekend and try and start a little bit, but it's gonna, things are gonna be so much better once I rearrange this whole thing. Because right now I feel like everything's just kind of cluttered, but after I do this, it's gonna be very, very sleek.
Everything in this room needs to be on wheels.
Oh God, yes.
I have wood floors, and it's just a total waste. It's awesome. It's a total waste of like possibility to not have everything on wheels in here, like the little locking casters that you can like step on and like it locks. Like
dude.
Every single thing here should be on those.
If you get BlackBox stuff, those casters can be a reality.
That's right. You can get those casters.
Actually, BlackBox.com is pulled up on my phone. I'm looking at the XR20 thinking about how much better my life would be if I had like one of those.
It's a great rack.
Dude, I literally have right behind me, right here, is a 16 and a 20 stacked. I mean, I'm going to take my phone off right now. I got all the babies. I can't rotate this fine. I got all the babies up there, and this thing goes all the way down to the floor. Where is it? I cannot do this. All the way down over there. Whatever. You get the idea. That's a whole stack, baby, from the floor almost to the ceiling. It's like
window to the
wall. It's probably 7 feet tall.
As it should be.
Yes. I love it. It makes me so happy. Every time I look at that whole stack, I'm like, yeah.
Streamline. Let me tell you what, there's something to be said for streamlining stuff. I think it allows you to provide better care. Like really, the easier something is for you to do. I mean, it's human nature. You're gonna do it more often and do it more efficiently. And that, little things like that, just like if I didn't have to take 4 binder clips off of every tub, to do a water bowl, how much more how much more often would I be inclined to do water bowls? It's all, kind of.
Yeah.
And that I think is a great selling point for stuff like that. That's just like butter and, everything looks good and is streamlined like that. It makes you want to use it and do better.
I like the standalone tubs that Jake and I use with those red lids and the blue lid stuff too, just because for things that like I don't plan on holding on to, long term, like stuff that's eventually going to go for sale or find a new home. Like those work really well in terms of space efficiency and things like that. You see them all right there above Jake. But
yeah, there you go. Yeah, I've got
it's a great little tub for
I've
having.
got those for the babies, and then I've got a whole rack of standalone taller tubs right there.
Oh yeah.
Part of my trash can, but those right there are the 110 quart hefties, and those are a great. Those are a great upgrade for adult rat snakes. And so what I'm gonna do is actually, like, the wall behind me is gonna be completely BlackBox. When this is done, I will have 2 cages that aren't BlackBox just because they're 4 feet and they need to put some carpets in them. But when this is done, everything's gonna be BlackBox or standalone tubs until they can get into a BlackBox. So that my back wall leading to my door is going to be all, like, it's going to be 2 baker's racks, and it's going to be 110 quarts all stacked up, because those just don't fit on a rack very well. So they're just going to sit on the floor and get stacked up. And then this wall right here behind me is going to be my V70 stack, my XR stack, and then I got a XR55 rack from BlackBox that's going next to these, and then my 3-foot cages. And it's going to be awesome. God, I can't wait. I'm so looking forward to it. Not looking forward to spending about $200-$300 in tubs here soon to get a bunch of standalones for all the grow-out rat snakes that have gotten too big. But yeah, everything's going to get transitioned to BlackBox soon enough.
You'll always have them.
Oh yeah, no. So it's gonna turn eventually once, because I'm gonna get a bunch of the 115s or 110s that are gonna stack up. But next BlackBox order is going to be all cages, and then we're going to slowly transition everything into BlackBox cages from there.
Yeah.
So it's
I cannot wait to get rid of that Habitat Systems rack.
Dude, you just need a whole stack of BioGs right there.
No, I'd probably
or even cubes, like 2x2x2s.
I'd do like 2-footers or something.
Yeah, get cubes.
I'm not a huge fan of cubes.
I find why.
Especially 2-footers. I just find them awkward with my room. They just don't. There's nowhere.
But you said 2-footers. So what would you get?
2-footers, like maybe not 2-footers, but like 3-footers, like the XA3s that I got.
Oh yeah. No,
like
that's
longer,
different.
Not as deep. With a little bit of height to it, like, because everything pretty much in that rack is a chondro or that Brettles. Like chondros don't need a lot in terms of depth. I think I'd go more for width on those than anything else.
Get the 3x18x24s. They're 24 tall but 3 foot wide, 18 deep. And that'll do you real well. I think my plan for at least the adult rats, because of my ceiling height, I wanted to do 2 foot tall cages just for more height, but in reality, 18 inches versus 2 foot doesn't mean a lot to the snake. But I can fit an extra cage up to my ceiling if I do 18s. So I'm probably going to go 3x2x18 tall for adult cages. For smaller rats, like big boys like Rico. Rico's going to go in the 4-footer I got waiting out in the living room for me right now. Those are going to go in the 4-foot cages. But most of your rat snakes stay relatively small, so they're probably going to stay in 3x2x18s. And I just plan on having an entire wall of those mudsuckers. So it's going to be awesome.
At some point, I want to get the Jansen eye into like a 6-footer or something.
That would be so sick, dude. Get them in like a 6 long, 3 tall.
Well, actually, I talked to Jen. I actually thought about taking what they're in now and getting another one, and then just like coupling them together.
Yeah.
So
that'd be really cool.
Have like a cooler level that doesn't have heat or UV or anything, and then have like the light level that's got the UV and has the lights and the plants and everything.
Would you do vertically stacked or horizontally stacked?
Vertically.
Okay.
Yeah, because that would be, because I've always thought about that, especially for like cave dwellers. I've thought about getting like cave dwelling rat snakes. If you get like a 4-foot cage and put a divider in it, then cut a hole, make one pretty much completely blacked out, make it wet, make it more cave-like, and then have the other side be more like a forest environment, UVB, UVA, all that stuff, and then they can kind of transition. You can definitely do that and that,
horizontal Applegate kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly. Justin, with your idea, you could definitely do that, and then have one more be more like a soil underground type of deal
with the hides and stuff, and then have more of like a climbing space. Still have like some hides up top.
Yeah, but have like more of a jungle space,
more branches, more things
to
climb on and stuff, and keep the bottom a little more bare bones and just mostly hides and things like that. But I think soil. I mean, if I put two of those together, that should
4 feet tall.
That should technically be more space than a 6-footer.
No? Well, yeah, it depends. If you did it, because
seems like square.
If you went 6 foot, if you went 6 foot long by 3 foot tall, maybe not. Versus 4 feet long by 4 feet tall, as far as actual footage. But if you do what you're doing and you create like just a small area, you would have more diversity. Like if you just put like a hole on one to where they can go underground type of deal, you would have a little bit more diversity, I guess, versus a 6 foot cage that's 3 feet tall.
I've always thought it would be cool. If you could get somebody to, or you could probably just like hand cut them, but you get somebody to 3D print a insert for a tub that rides about halfway, because they're tapered as they go down, rides about halfway down and has sort of like a necked up, like trap door in it where you could still put bedding in it, but you could have like a layer underneath like spag or something in it like that. But I don't know, a lot of the more traditional like V70s and stuff like that, I don't know that they're deep enough to allow you to do that and still have room for the actual snake. Yeah. But
so there are some, I can't remember, I think it's Freedom Breeder. They create, so what they have is an insert with a hole in it, and it goes into a V70 or whatever. And so the back part of the tub acts as a hide. Like there's a hole, and they go into the back, and it creates a hide area, and then the front is more open space. Okay. So there is that. I can't remember who makes it. It might be Vision. It's either Vision or Freedom Breeder. I can't remember. It might be Vision, but that is a good concept. And I actually might look into that and make the back part of it like a lay box area, because that would actually be really good for pits. If I can close off one area and just put spag in it, make it a lay box or a lay area, and the rest in mulch or whatever.
Yeah.
I might have to look into that for this breeding season. It's not a bad idea.
Hell yeah.
But, yeah. So.
No, I've been wanting to try and do some tinkering like that. I was
about to say, you're a handyman, Harry. You can work on this stuff.
Yeah, but I'm also a perfectionist, and that causes you to want to start things if you don't think they're going to be right. And so you end up not doing things.
I hear that.
One reason I don't have like my wall-to-wall Spilotes enclosure yet is because I'm like, oh, do I want to do it this way or that way? I can't get them until I have the enclosure. I'll let myself.
See, I don't know. I'm different, man. If it works, I'm all about functionality. It ain't got to be pretty as long as it does the job.
No, I mean, and I agree with that. It's just my brain that sometimes is like, oh man, it's got to be perfect the first time. Like when in reality, you're going to be tweaking stuff forever, because that's half the fun of anything like this.
Well, if I do the split BlackBox setup, I'm thinking I would end up doing like a PVC coupling, like a U joint that goes from the side to the side instead of a vertical one. That way, if I ever want to use those cages for something else, I have the ability to close them off with a cap or something.
And you don't have a hole in the bottom.
Hole in the bottom or the top.
Right. So that would almost work like some people use those as like shift boxes.
A hamster cage.
Like they'll put a PVC coupling on one end that they can close off. So when the snake is in there, they can close it, and then it's trapped inside of there, and then they can pull it out, do their cleaning or whatever. So not a bad thing.
It'd be nice to be able to still use them if I don't end up having Chance and I in them anymore or something.
Right.
You don't want to ruin
whatever
them
reason
for one application and then not be able to do anything else with them. Yeah.
Right.
For sure.
No, I need to go down the BlackBox rabbit hole.
It's a good hole to go down, my friend. You will not be disappointed. I absolutely love my
Is that
equipment,
before or
man.
after you go down the chondro rabbit hole?
Fuck that.
Oh, don't let her hear you.
Green tree pythons.
Don't let her hear you. She's there.
She's there. It's too late.
She's already gone down the Leonis rabbit hole with me, and she wants chondros, and I also want chondros. I had an awesome pair when I was a kid, man. Like a pair of Arus. I got at a local pet store like 15 years ago, and knew nothing about them, and they were just wonderful. Kept them in those horrible like 10-gallon tall. You know, like it was like
God, the 10-gallon turned up on its
like
side.
20 inches tall. Yeah, like
Yeah.
just kept them side by side, a pair of those, and they somehow did okay. Like, you know, I mean, this is like this is long enough ago to where like I didn't know any damn better. It's half the people you talk to would have told you to keep them like that, but no, they were cool. I missed those. Those were those were awesome.
Those were the days.
I don't even think I have any pictures of those snakes anymore.
Seems like a lot of people's first experience with chondros is usually not great.
Yeah, no, like I expected that. Even then I knew enough. You know, I was just a boy.
And I was but a boy.
And I even then I knew I was like, okay, this may not go well. And they did surprisingly well. And
it really is amazing how easy they are to keep.
I feel like they're easy to keep
so much.
They're easy to keep as long as you hit the right parameters.
Your margins for error are definitely slimmer than a lot of us.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like they're very easy as long as you hit these certain things, you won't have any problems. But they're not like a carpet to where if something goes haywire for a week, they're probably going to be fine. Yeah. Yeah, I feel like
they do.
I feel like chondros are just a little bit more sensitive.
If you ignore their existence, they do phenomenally.
It's kind of like that vertebralis.
Thrive on neglect, man. I'm telling you. Not neglect so much as just ignoring.
Yeah.
Ignoring them.
So something I did today that I also want to share with the class that I think could be a good idea for people. So that gray rat snake that got out. Yeah. So that gray rat snake that got out, all of those lemon rats have a horrible problem of flipping their water dishes and just swamping their enclosures all of the time. And I've been trying to think of a way to combat that without like getting, because they're in those, they have these small red dishes that I get from the Dollar Tree. They work really well. I haven't had problems with snakes flipping them over until I got these. So what I did was I melted a hole in a certain spot, or 2 holes in a certain spot on my tub. And I took 2 zip ties, and I took one and I made a loop inside of it, and that water dish fits perfectly inside the zip tie loop, and it acts as like a little cup holder. And I will check back in next week to see how it does. I think it's going to work out really well. Unless they can get under it and push it over it, they're not going to be able, because I think the problem is they're moving it and then pushing it all over the place. It's filling with bedding, whatever. So unless they pick it up and go over the zip tie, I think it's going to work really well. It's like a little cup holder, and I might use that on a lot more tubs to like keep them secured.
What my mom has always done, long as I can remember, for her ball pythons and stuff, is basically the exact thing that we all use as moist hides, like the Tupperware with the lid, hole in the top, like she uses those as water bowls for animals that like to tip things, and because they can still get in there, make it big enough to where they can still get in there if they want to. This is like primarily for like baby balls and stuff that'll make messes and stuff. I don't see why it wouldn't work for them, but for pits and stuff. But yeah, and it just keeps them from spilling it a little more. But
there's actually, I think it's from Superior Shipping Supplies.
Yeah, they have
or somebody. They have some they have like dishes that you can use as water bowls, but they come with a lid with a big cutout in it, and they say you can use those water bowls. I mean, it's the same thing.
Probably a lot better.
Yeah, and they're probably a lot more expensive too.
Yeah.
That goes into, do you want to pay for it to look nice, or do you,
You
want
gotta- you got-
cheaper?
You want to make a
and
trip to
effective?
Dollar Tree.
You got to look
Right.
at it though. You know,
Yeah.
if you open it up every time and go, God,
That looks like shit.
Tupperware.
Yeah.
I've got-
Dude, it's so bad. Like,
that's got one in it. That's got one in it. Like I can't,
yeah.
I can't complain too much, but they're ugly.
I'm a very I'm so like on the fence of it in between. Like, I'm way more like, if it works, it works. But God, I want it to look good.
If you can
Like,
help it, make it not look like.
yeah,
It could be the ugliest thing in the world. If it works for me. Like that's
yeah, and that
mostly
yeah,
because I'm
yeah.
the only one in my room. Like I'm not like I don't have people in there. I'm not showing people stuff. It's like, even if I did, I'd be like,
It's for me. It's for me, and being like, it satisfies me. That's why if I find a hide that works really well, I want to put it in every single fucking tub, so everyone is the same. I want the same water dishes, the same hides, the same perches, because I like unity.
I've yet to find a better
satisfies.
Ideally, yes.
It satisfies.
Forget that we all stand on the shoulders of people that lived and died by Tupperware containers.
Yeah, right. So this is another thing. Talking about hides. Talking about my camping chair. Talking about hides. The best hides I have found recently are these little things that you can get at Target. It's made
Ain't nobody
by
driving to Target here.
Bright Room. Yeah, I know it sucks, but if you have a Target, they have these little Bright Room. They're just like little containers that you put stuff in.
Oh,
you flip those things over and put a hole in it, and it is a perfect hide. And guess what? They come in 3 different sizes. This is the medium. They have really tiny ones.
How expensive are those?
This pack is $250.
That's not bad.
Not at all. So you can get
They've got some cool little water bowls that I think are made by that company as well, and they're like,
you could probably get those on the website, huh?
Yeah. These are probably, because I get them. You can get the really. I don't. Oh yeah, I do have some of the tiny ones. So they
reference, the Target here is like a 45-minute drive for me.
Yes. So they have these really itty bitty ones. You can get a 4-pack for like $250. No, they're not. They fit in the BlackBox tubs.
Those are too tall.
No, they're not.
They are.
They're perfect. I have so many of them. You can get a 4-pack on there for $250. The medium size, you can get a 3-pack for the same price. And the bigger ones that I have my big rat snakes in right now are also $250, and you get a 2-pack. You can't beat it, man.
Like Goldilocks hides from Target.
Every time, my girlfriend loves Target, so whenever we go to Bluffton, we always go in. And every time I go in, I buy.
What white girl doesn't love Target?
Exactly. So every time we go, I buy a stack of every size just to have some on hand.
Fancier
like every time I get drug into Home Goods, they have these little glass bowl thing, like sleeves of like glass bowls of different sizes with lids, like the glass Tupperware thing. Those lids work great for all kinds of things, and those glass bowls are great, and they're dirt cheap for like a sleeve of them. And I always get a couple of those with dry tea.
Oh yeah. Me for water bowls, I'm just so on the plastic little. They're basically shipping cups. I get them without the lids, or at least I got them without the lids, and I bought 1,000,000 of them. And I just wash them in the dishwasher, pull them out, put a new one in, and it is the best thing I ever did.
Some of those cardboard wine shipper things that Clint and Jen had. Have you? I've used some of those, dude, and I love them.
I haven't used any of them yet.
My God,
because they've been chilling. I'm going to use them when I enact the XR55 rack.
I really like that hard compressed cardboard for hides and stuff, because
it works great
so well.
I'll tell you what I've gone nuts with lately is that black corrugated like drain pipe. Stuff, dude. Like
pain in the ass to clean.
Huh?
Pain in the ass to clean.
Yes, but 10 feet of it is $10 or so. And if you got something to cut it with,
well, you can make it whatever size you want to, which is nice.
Oh yeah, no, like I've got like a ton of different sizes. You can cut it like into thirds or halves if you need a bigger dome or a little small, more flat fitting thing. Like a lot of hatchlings have just like a little small like turtle shelly looking piece of that in there. Like that stuff's great, man. And,
Yeah,
like,
that stuff works great. And you also use it for arboreal hides, don't you?
I do, and it's wonderful. Unless you want to ever see your baby rat snake, I have to coax them out there. You know how like Skylar from Hail Scales, he always likes to post the videos of him coaxing his monitors out, like onto his thigh and stuff.
Mhm.
That's what I feel like trying to get these baby rat snakes out of their arboreal hides. I have to like do one of those and be like come on, like he's not going to see them because otherwise they just live in there. Like I literally will pull entire shed skins out of there and like they live in there.
Yeah,
I mean, tight enough where I can't get them out. So
is it too small to like get a hook in there and just kind of?
I mean, I could get like something and like prod them out the other side, but that's just very, very rude. I have done it. Honestly, what I've also done is if I really need to get one out, I've had to like because I have them zip tied to the top of the like through tiny holes drilled in the lid of these gasket tubs. And so sometimes I just get fed up and I just cut the zip ties and then I have to redo it. And you gotta like thread it through. Like it's the Mark I, it's not.
I've thought about
it, but
I've thought about doing that with like the bigger rat snakes and putting like a chunk of it and then zip tying it to the side, like leaving it as a circle, but instead of on the lid, put it to the side and let them use
my golf hammock in the living room has a couple of big crossing branches, in there, like you do. You put the big diagonal chunk of wood in, there, but it's like a big X shape, and I have a whole piece of that stuff run between those two. That's just zip tied to it, and he uses the top of it as a basking thing because I got a light on him. Just because, what's the point of putting a rat snake in an arboreal cage to give him belly heat? You want to see him out laying across something, being all cool. But yeah, he uses that hide. He uses it as basking like all the time. He falls off it sometimes because he's dumb. we love him anyway. But no, it gets the seal of approval.
What do you use to cut that stuff? Because that was my biggest issue. Is I tried like melting it like with my soldering iron and going in a circle. That takes way too long.
You could probably get like
I tried to use a PVC saw also, and that was a
hacksaw. Yeah, you can probably get tired before that was worth it. No, I have a kind of a power tool junkie. I've got one of those little Makita oscillator. I'm a brand whore for Makita also, but I've got a little oscillating like multi-tool thing.
Okay.
And it's the number one thing for a lot of what I do. I can cut perches to size with it. I can, you can cut a little entrance to like a hide with it. You can cut anything.
Is that the one you sent me a while back?
Yes. Yeah. It's like a little, little side to side oscillator thing.
Yeah.
Like
kind of just
a chisel blade thing that you just like you can plunge into stuff. And it makes really short work of anything, especially that like any kind of plastic stuff. Like it's probably my most used like tool for a lot of like the little.
I need to.
It gets used more for this than for like
one of those
construction.
Yeah, I need to buy. I need to splurge and buy one of those.
They make corded ones, like I got that one because I've already got a bunch of other like stuff that runs off those batteries.
You already have the batteries for it.
Oh, dude, yeah, I've got too much of that crap. Like I've got.
Yeah.
I'm surprised I don't have the Makita coffee maker, but I'm not that far gone yet.
I'm not that far gone. Yeah, I hear you.
Plus, that's what white masters are for.
Luckily, with all the hides that I do, that plastic, the ones I just showed on your, the Bright Room, whatever from Target, those are actually really, really easy to cut with a razor blade.
Okay.
Like it's pliable plastic, like it moves. It works really good as a hide, but it's soft enough that you can just take a razor blade and make a couple cuts. And I made several in a matter of minutes. So
you can probably just like score it and then kind of like tap it and get it to like pop.
You don't even have to do that. I just cut straight through it. Like it's super easy. So I cut the width of it, as high as I want to. Then I pull up the piece and then just cut it across the top there, and makes quick work out of anything. And I keep razor blades in here. all the time.
Keeps you from having to burn holes in things because that
Yes.
it never goes as well as you think it's going to go.
No, I have burned.
Burn a neat hole in this thing. Oh God! And then
Yeah, I've burned. So in like a lot of my humid hides, like I don't like cutting stuff because it leaves like a sharper edge. So I used my soldering iron to just actually burn like a whole hole that a snake could fit into.
Mm-hmm.
But it takes so fucking long. It doesn't matter what you're doing.
I did a lot of air holes with my soldering iron for a long time, and then I eventually I couldn't take it anymore. So I went back to drilling them, and I just made sure that I come back and kind of like hit it with something to knock the burrs off of it to where it's not like blown out where, because I mean, it looks bad. And what I always tell myself is these things live in tin piles as often as they don't. So I feel like the little burrs on the air holes aren't going to really bother
right.
them. Still, for me, I try to make sure they're all.
I won't do a drill, man. I used to. I broke so many $20 tubs that it's not even funny. What I've been waiting to do, and this is, a shout out to Clint from Metazotics. He took like 5-6 soldering irons and he wedged them between two boards and got the clips, and he just pew pew, and that's awesome. That's what I want to do. I've been waiting
smarter,
to do
not
that.
harder.
Yes.
You can get these storage trays, the Bright Room ones, on Target.com, but it does not look like you can get them shipped. You can get them for pickup. That looks like it's it.
That's still useful because there's nothing quite like driving to Target for some gasket tubs.
Yes, gasket tubs. There's only 2 places in this county I can get gasket tubs. It is Target and Staples. Staples is actually here in town.
I went to Staples after you told me to, and I actually got one of those gigantic ones. I couldn't find them anywhere.
Yeah, Staples sells them. That's the place I get them because they're in town. But Target's the only other place, dude. I'm not gonna lie. I'm a white girl when it comes to Target. I love Target.
Dude, there's a Starbucks in there, man. How could you?
Yeah. I mean, I don't drink coffee.
It's just a beacon for peak Caucasian.
Yes. I wish Target was closer, but I make special trips to Target. I find other excuses. Basically, when I have to pick up or ship snakes, I always stop at Target on the way back because I have to go to Hilton Head to do that, and that's going past Target. So anytime I do that, I roll through Target and get a few things because the only good thing about Target is they sell more sizes of those gasket tubs.
Yes, that is one.
They have the short ones.
They don't sell the big ones. Okay, tangent for a minute. Well, not really. It's about tubs. These ones I just showed you earlier, these little, classic Sterilites that we all know and love, right? These little, like, whatever they like, however many quart they are.
6 quart.
They, at Target, they sell something that's the same footprint but half the height. And I was like, that's interesting. And they're 4 times as expensive.
Oh, God.
Why not?
I don't understand. Those things are like $2.50 to $3 a piece. These things were like $7, which I realize is not 4 times as expensive, but like you get the idea.
Yeah,
close enough.
Yeah, I know. It was for me. I didn't get them.
I'm Team Dollar Tree, man.
Oh yeah, no. Like if it wasn't the fact that I like built these little, redneck racks to fit these tubs, I'd probably Dollar Tree it as well.
Well, see, Dollar Tree's only good for like baby snakes. Like you can't. They don't sell. Dollar Tree does not sell tubs that can fit adult snakes.
You go buy them out of Christmas tree tubs.
Yes, like you're not getting those from Dollar Tree. But but with that said, like at first I was going with the Lowe's hefty tubs, to house a lot of stuff. But then these gasket tubs are the same exact price. There you go. Those gasket tubs are the same exact price as the hefty ones from Lowe's, and the gasket ones are better.
Tell you what, one of the coolest things I ever saw done with those Christmas tree tubs, and I can't remember who it was on Instagram. But yeah, anyway, like a little oscillator. Yeah.
You use that to cut the HDPE pipe?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
Nice.
Works great. It's like butter. But no, one of the coolest things I've ever seen done with those Christmas tree tubs is somebody made a big homemade rack for black milks out of them, like big full grown, like 6.5 foot black milks, and they were like long way pulled out Christmas tree tubs, and like it was sweet. I was like, that's the best, like because those things are kind of flimsy when you get them like to be that long, but like with a well supported rack, like that was cool. I was like, okay, I see how that can be done now.
Yeah.
If anybody remembers who that was, I'd like. I can't for the life of me remember who that was, but that was sweet.
I would love, dude. I would, for Pituophis, I would love Christmas tree
That'd
tubs.
be great for those, yeah.
Yeah, they're either Christmas tree tubs or like FB90s. I need an FB90 rack for my adult pits, man. Like it's.
If I ever get some time, I'm gonna try and build some racks. I want to buy some BlackBox stuff, but I really want to do like a little bit different of a V70 rack that I will actually attempt to build myself. And if that goes well and I don't like discourage myself too much, I'll definitely, I'd love to do one of those boa tub racks because that would be a lot of fun. Be a lot of useful.
Yeah, so BlackBox, when Justin and I were there last, they actually had one of the Vision boa tubs.
I know you'd mentioned that you'd been talking. You guys have been plugging their ear about it. Yeah.
Well, the boa tub is almost too much. Like it would take up, dude. Those tubs were.
I thought that's what the FB one that you were talking about.
FB90's a little bit smaller. The FB90
not a real boa tub. Okay, yeah, that's what I was calling that. I was probably
the boa tub from Vision is close to twice the size of it. And like it would be good. It would be good for like big boas, like carpets and stuff, But as far as pits go, FB90 is great. It's basically an FB90 is basically a V70 side by side. It's like
awesome.
it's twice the width of a V70, which would be absolutely perfect.
No, that's perfect.
But those
pythons aren't boas, Jake.
Yeah, whatever. But those
depends on which Facebook group you're in.
Those Vision boa tubs are ridiculously big. Like, don't get me wrong, I would love to put some pits in them.
I could probably fit in one.
Hell, they might like freak out in them. You never know.
I mean, they're longer than a V70. They're like 2.5 V70s wide. They are huge. I get why people use them for boas. I get why they call it a boa tub now. Because that is the biggest fucking tub I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. For whatever reason, I thought I forget there's an in between there.
Yeah, the FB90 is not quite as big. I would get the Freedom Breeder ARS tubs that are really long and slide from the side. You know what I'm talking about? The ones that people put like Burmese pythons in and shit, which is horrible. I don't think you should do that. But people do it, and but you know what I'm talking about. I would get those way before I got one of those boa tubs because like that's like a from the side pull it out type of shit. Those boa tubs are just so big and bulky, and they're just.
I bet they eat up a room too. Like having to have room to pull them out and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, it would kill a room. Like at least with the side by side tubs, they would be more like a 4x2, cage except.
It doesn't take any more room to actually utilize than a V70. It's just wider, right?
Sideways, essentially. Yeah,
that's cool.
I would love some of those, but good Lord, those racks are thousands of dollars, and your boy ain't got that. So, but no, FB90s are where I'm at for like adult pits. I would absolutely love to have an FB90 rack. But if BlackBox isn't going to make one, I hope they do. But if they're not, I'm already trying to save towards getting one.
Yeah.
Very, very badly. But
I work at a cabinet shop, but I'm also lazy. Not lazy, busy. I'll give myself that. But it would be cool.
Yeah. No,
I've
told you before. The second you want to make one, I'll drive down there for a weekend. help you.
I've always thought it would be cool to put some sort of lighting inside a rack system like that, even if it was just like up the sides, like one little strip of like a little LED light strip or something, like where it doesn't even actually touch the tubs, and you can put that on like a dimmer to where if you wanted to walk in there and like, sort of like crank it up a little bit and like ramp it up and look at all your snakes and go, okay, and just ramp it back down and walk out. Like I thought that would be neat.
Yeah. No, do you know Kyle with Mojo Herpetoculture? He does. He's a pretty handy guy, and he actually did that.
Really?
Yeah, he put lights in the corner of his racks. He used like Cambro tubs, I believe, so they're super clear.
Yeah.
And
I was going to say, it better be something that's not super opaque, otherwise
yeah.
it's pointless.
He did that in one of his racks that he built, and it was one of those that could like change. He put LEDs in that could change colors and stuff, and it was really, really.
Are we lighting the tubs or are we having a rave?
Right. But
you never know. What if that's how somebody gets some obscure species to breed? Like you got to hit them with freaking strobes.
Hit them with the strobes.
Yeah. You should, but if you're really interested in doing that, you should hit him up, dude. Which number one, you should hit him up either way. If anybody listening doesn't know Kyle from Mojo Herpetoculture, you absolutely should. He's a really, really good guy. He actually just produced his first clutch of chondros. They just hatched, and he's a super cool guy. I met him back at the very first Carpet Fest we had, and he's one of my favorite people in the hobby. He's a fantastic dude. So definitely hit him up. But if you are Harry, if you want to know more about the lighting and how he did it, you should
following him right now. I knew I used my laptop for this for a reason.
Yeah,
he's
a cool guy. I love that dude.
So you guys
are nice.
Yeah. On a different note, you guys have been doing more herping than me lately.
Jake has.
I wouldn't even say I've been doing more. I went.
You guys have been finding cool stuff though.
I went 2 weeks ago and I found I found a South Carolina, a DOR South Carolina pygmy, which I have not seen in probably 7 years.
I did not realize it was DOR. I must not have looked at the picture very closely.
Yeah,
that sucks.
It's
still cool that they're there now.
Yeah, I was yelling. Like I was so angry. I was yelling in this road, like threw my hook on the ground, like couldn't even look at it, dude. I was so upset because like I've seen a ton of pygmies in Florida, but we went to. I think it was back in like 2015, maybe 16. I went road cruising with a buddy in a very specific spot in South Carolina, and we found 2 pygmies, and it was just like amazing, And
those things look cool too, man. Like those things look really cool. Like
yeah, and this was, dude, this was the biggest pygmy I've ever seen. Like as far as like lengthwise, I would probably give it like 2.5 foot.
God.
Like it was a monster pygmy. Like it was. Like I said, when I went to Florida, I saw, this was years ago, but I probably saw 20 to 30 pygmies in a weekend.
Yeah.
Not one of them touched as big as this thing was.
And I see a lot of pygmies, and I don't see many that are that near that size. Like Phil Wolf has a really good picture of a big one he found last year, but like that might be that big. I've never seen. I see the little quarter-sized ones more than I see anything.
Yeah, and that was the majority that I found.
Bad.
This thing was 2.5 foot, dude. It was a monster. It was literally the biggest pygmy I think I've ever seen. It was a really big female, and it was like freshly dead. Like we were on these back roads. I don't know why this big tow truck was on this road. I don't know if his GPS took him down this road for whatever fucking reason, but it did. And we passed it, and not 100 yards after we passed it, I stopped and I was like, oh, I think it's a DOR. And I jumped out, and it was just this absolute dump truck of a pygmy. And I I lost it.
Had a
I was
moment.
with a buddy of mine, and he was like, "Dude, are you good?" And I was like, "Not really."
I will be. Give me a second.
Yeah, just
let me mourn, damn it.
Yeah. And it sucked because right before that, we actually found, so we only found 2 snakes on the night, which kind of sucked. But it was cool because I found a baby canebrake, and that was my only canebrake this year. And that was cool because I haven't gone herping as much as I wanted to this year. But I finally found a canebrake for the year, which was great. Very, very pretty. It was a baby. And then right after that was that pygmy dude. And I mean, like, it was so freshly dead, it was still moving. Like its back end was still like kind of twitching and shit. I was like, if we would have gotten out here 5 minutes earlier, we probably would have found this pig. Like, and oh my god, dude, it was destruction. But
you got a spot out of it.
Yeah. So and that was the good thing. Like, that told me they were there, and being that thing was so big, that kind of tells me the population's probably at least
this time of year. Yeah, there's probably
Yeah, and it was a cooler night, so I was like, man, these rattlesnakes are liking this cooler weather a little bit. So I want to get back out there, but it's been like extra cold here recently, like 50 something.
Yeah, it's been a bit chilly here. I'm surprised I've even seen anything because I'm lucky enough that I haven't really been able to hurt much, but the neighborhood that I grew up in, that I spend a lot of time going to and from now, my mom's been sick, been out there kind of helping out with her and stuff. I'm fortunate enough that neighborhood and that area is just loaded with all kinds of cool stuff, and it's been kind of feeding me a few things here and there when I haven't been able to necessarily go herping, so that's been pretty cool.
Yeah.
I'm cruising some pretty rat snakes. I found that little Steraria, I think that's only the second or third red belly I've even seen, like, to be honest with you. Like, I don't think they're super common here. If they are, I just don't tend to find them.
I think it's more like they're hard to find, man.
Dude, I literally looked down as I was walking by an ant bed and was like, oh.
Yeah. There's such a small fossorial species that me and Chris Montross found one when he was, Chris flipped it. But we just happened to stop at this piece of PVC that was on the side of the road, and or AC, not PVC, AC, and flipped it over, and sure enough, there's a little red belly under it, and that was the first one I've seen in years. Like, it's been a long time, but
I may have seen some. I may have found more when I was like a preteen running around through the woods flipping logs, not really thinking about what I found, but as somebody who's keeping track, that's one of only a few that I think of. There's fun.
Womp.
Womp womp. You
Finally,
found copperhead stuff.
Yeah, that was
really cool.
that was the first
I know
time
that's been a minute, but it was cool hearing about that. As a Floridian, I live 30 minutes away from one of the only spots in the state that you can find them, and I haven't seen one in probably a decade.
It blows my mind too that Florida, of all places.
I just don't go. Like, I go there enough to, like, maybe if I get lucky I'll find one, but I don't hit it. Like, it's just, there are other things to do, but, like, man, copperheads are cool, and like as somebody who doesn't ever get to play with. Last one I saw, I literally almost stepped on while hiking Torreya State Park, which is about an hour from here, which is another really cool place out this way. You got their own species of trapdoor spider out there.
Oh, that's cool.
Oh yeah.
I found the older I get, the more I appreciate copperheads in particular. It's just you see them in the variation we have here too, between the ones in the the varying levels of pink and things like that, and it's a cool little species, man. Like, They're nothing super sexy, nothing super exciting, but they're like, I can't help but stare at them for a few minutes usually when I come across them.
Well, something that kind of changed how I look at, like more common species is I heard them called successful instead of just like, dime a like, you think of them in terms of just being successful, like cottonmouths down here, like it's very easy to, a lot of people just
Right.
consider them, bycatch or like borderline nuisance, depending on if you're a herper or not. But like, think of them as being successful, and that, it garners a little respect, like they do really well, and that's why there's so many of them. And that's kind of cool in its own way, even if you're not excited because you're looking for something else.
Yeah, and I mean everywhere's gonna have sort of that one species where it's like, okay, like this isn't what we're here for, but we're gonna see it, And for me, like that's racers. Racers are everywhere here.
Oh yeah.
And like the species that I never get to see is coral snakes, and so it's like you talk to guys like KJ and some of them that do a lot of herping and stuff, and they find corals all the time. So that's like their racer. That's like, okay, it's cool.
They find a lot of cool stuff all the time.
So everywhere's got their one thing they don't particularly like. They're not there to find. It doesn't get them particularly excited, but
no.
There's someone else somewhere that would love to see.
Oh yeah,
that would kill to see copperheads. It's like you may find them all the time. But
yeah.
That's why I like herping. Sorry, by the way, turns out my surge protector switch was not turned on, so my phone was not charging this entire time.
Wow.
But that's what I loved about herping with Matthew Palmer from Herp Talk Radio. He just recently moved down here. And I took him herping like the first week he was here. And we found copperheads, and he was just geeking out over these copperheads, and it just made me happy, man. But like, I see copperheads, like that's like the common, if you're going to go road cruising certain areas that I've got, you're almost guaranteed a copperhead. If nothing else, you're probably going to find a copperhead. And he just loved seeing these things so much. It just made me so happy. Like, oh man, like,
it reinvigorates you. It makes you look at things that you kind of consider bycatch as not being bycatch when, like,
right.
Well, like Anthony Seda, who just moved down to Savannah from up north. Him and his girlfriend went out to Donnelly. And he saw a copperhead, and like I know he tagged you and he tagged me in it too. But having the same thing as what Palmer sort of went through with not seeing one and then seeing one, and it's just cool. Like even if it's something you see on a regular basis, to see someone else see it for the first time is.
Oh yeah, it recharges you, man. Yeah. Like watching somebody get a lifer is just like getting one. It's cool, and that goes both ways. I mean, that like watching somebody get the big stoke from getting hands on or eyes on something they've never seen before. It was
the same with Justin Olson when he and I went out to that Pinckney Wildlife Refuge. And we were walking, and I just happened to look down to my right, and there was an adult copperhead just curled up right there on the side of the trail there, and in broad daylight. And that's the first one he had seen because he came from Minnesota, where they don't really have any of that stuff. So he's getting to see like yellow rats and racers and copperheads and things like that, for the first time really in the wild. And it's really cool. Like he was all about that copperhead, man. It wasn't even in terms of like others that I've seen around, like it wasn't even really a quote unquote pretty one. Just didn't have the pinks and stuff to it that a lot of the other ones do. It was much more of a yellow green color.
Hush.
Yeah,
that's
Jake.
one thing. That's one thing I really try not to do, though, is I try not to get stagnant with the things that we have here. I get excited about anything, like if I'm road
get out and take pictures of every pygmy that I find, and I've probably missed some cooler stuff because of that, but I don't care. Like
same way. Every single copperhead I see, I take a picture of it. It's one thing if I'm road cruising and I just cruise my 10th copperhead for the night. It's like, all right, take a quick picture. Let's get off the road.
Get off the road, but like
Yeah, but I hate the term bycatch. Like I really, really hate that because like as herpers, like we should be grateful for anything and everything we see, even if it's a
I've been
lot.
skunked enough to,
Yeah.
not to not want to think that way.
Yeah, there's been nights that I would give anything just to see a copperhead so I could say I found something.
The first couple of times you go and it's not quite the right weather yet, like, and you're like, I'm gonna go, I think it'll be okay, and you don't see anything, and you're like, oh man, I would kill for like, some cold weather nature scene or something, some kind, like, like the first Nerodia of the year comes across your path, or like the first, rat snake after you haven't been able to herp in a couple of months, and you're like, but like those couple of days leading up to that, when you would just kill for anything, like, that kind of shoots the whole idea of bycatch in the head for me sometimes.
Yeah, and that's why like I really just hate the term because like we should be grateful we get to see any of these things, because there's some places you really don't see snakes ever. They might have snakes, but they're extremely hard to find. There's only a very small window to find them, and
now I also think like this is when you're herping someplace that's easy for you to get to. I understand it a little more if you're like destination herping, so to speak. Like if you go, I mean, and obviously then you're probably going to be finding a lot more stuff that you've never seen before anyway. So nothing at that rate is bycatch. But like, I guess if you've got a target species is a little more important if you're like off your home turf, I guess. But
yeah, no, if I'm like in Florida.
Oh no!
I want to find a coach whip or a diamondback or whatever. If I see a black racer, I'm not going to go diving in the bush to try and grab it,
But a Nerodia.
But a Nerodia, all day, every day. That don't matter. That don't matter where I'm at.
He's got a reputation to uphold.
I don't care if I've seen a million of them. I'm grabbing every single Nerodia I can. My guy.
Oh man!
Look at what came in the mail.
We got mail.
My package that got refused in France.
Oh.
Hey,
what size are those?
And my decals. These are larges.
Oh.
And an XL. This is the package that made me decide to not do international shipping because
we no longer offer international shipping.
Yeah,
because of these.
We can't have because of the French. Because we can't have nice things. They were upset that they had to pay tax in their country when their package showed up, and they don't know why they had to pay tax. It's like, I don't care if they are. It's crap.
Like, I don't know either. I don't live there.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm bitter about it. It was really irritating because they were all in a hurry to get their shirts. They're like, when are you gonna ship them? When are you gonna ship them? They get them, and they're like, the postman wanted €20. I'm like, okay, postman was probably trying to hustle you or something, man. I don't know how it works. Sorry.
Yeah, how do they vet their mailman over there, or like is this guy just like, hey, like shaking him down?
They were like, I refused it. And I'm like, why? And then they started a PayPal claim, like immediately. Didn't even tell me about it. Like, couldn't even just refund them before they did that. And so now PayPal's been like hovering over me.
Did you like lose a star over it or some?
No, like then they're like, we need to verify all these transactions and make sure you're real. So you gotta like send a picture of your ID. You gotta
just take a selfie.
You gotta provide tracking numbers for like 10 different orders that they pick at random and like all kinds of just really, really irritating stuff. And I'm like,
that dude didn't want to pay for it, and so you've got to jump through.
Yeah, they were like, I didn't have €20 to pay him, so I had to refuse it. And I'm like, fucking really? And they were like, I buy stuff international all the time, and I've never had to pay tax. And I'm like, I doubt that.
Sounds made up.
I was like, if you got it from those other companies, it must be nice because they must like giving away stuff for free. Because
yeah, I don't know enough about that to know whether it's BS or not. But
well, I asked Trey about it at Cold Blooded Caffeine again because I was like, is this normal? And he's like, them paying taxes upon receipt, like when they get an international order, isn't anything new. And he's like, the fact that it was €20 seems a little high, but other than that, he's like, that shouldn't be. That's nothing new. Like there's nothing about that should be surprising. Because at first I thought maybe I had done something wrong, like in the way I set it up or something. And I don't know. Yeah, man, I'm bitter about it.
Well, now you have a shirt that's literally been like overseas and back.
Yeah, I was all like, "Oh, I got my first international order. This is cool." And I was like, "There it goes." And now I'm like paranoid because like if this is what I'm gonna have to deal with on a regular basis, then I'm not gonna do it. Not worth it.
Yeah.
What shirts were they?
Rhino Rat shirt, and then ironically a U.S. Ganya Soma Alliance shirt.
That's why.
Yeah, I was like, whatever.
The guy was like, I don't know what the hell a Ganya Soma is, but this guy's got to pay taxes on this bastard.
This says U.S. on it. You're paying 20.
I don't know. I mean, I guess like their postmen.
There's a fee.
Just show up with like a card reader or something and
like a likeness
pay
fee.
them direct. I don't know. It's the whole concept's weird to me, but
yeah, that's weird.
And all that time trying to get the international thing figured out and making sure I'm doing it right. Get my pee slapped on the very first order.
Just say, hey, we now offer it. We offer international shipping to anywhere except
France. You've lost your privileges.
The fine print.
No, I mean, if I'm going to open it up again, I'm sure, but I'm going to put in giant bold red letters, like expect to pay tax.
Make sure you know your shipping laws in your country.
I'm in America. I already pay enough in taxes. I'm not paying yours too.
Put that on a shirt.
Yeah, I was really irritated. That whole thing.
Harry, I think Justin and I need to, at least I am, Justin, whether you do it or not, I know you've been talking about it, but we need to plan a herping trip out to you next spring.
Come on.
If you will have us
mid-December, let's do it.
You will have us for a weekend. Mid-December is going to be
herping doesn't quit here. You just got to go a little deeper in the.
Got to look harder.
Piles.
Wow.
Sometimes not even, man.
I'm trying to road cruise and find a bunch of fucking pygmies. So.
Yeah, spring. Springish. Excuse me.
I want some. I want to own some.
I think you should own some.
I will again.
Seriously through you. Because there's no way that I am going through all of those hoops.
I'm just. I'd be content with like 2 pygmies. I think that would scratch my itch.
I want about 6, but I'll just compromise and have 0.
Like I say, when I have an outbuilding, since South Carolina is a lawless wasteland, once I have an outbuilding,
the best kind of wasteland.
Yes, I'm going to have just one of every venomous snake in South Carolina, other than the coral, because I'm not dealing with that.
Dude, that'd be the coolest one. You'd never see it.
It would be cool, but
you'd be like, oh my god, it's out.
We had one at the nature center, and it was out more than you would expect.
I'm pretty sure the Jacksonville Zoo has one, and I've seen it out more times than not.
They also doesn't exactly have like a ton of hiding options. So.
No,
it was out last time when I was there.
Yeah, they also had a random pine snake in with like 6 EDVs. It was kind of funny. Like it was like no plaque for it. It was like the Eastern Diamondback rattlesnake, and it was like a 30-foot enclosure, badass enclosure, like with like 4 or 5 EDVs in it. And I was like, wait a damn minute.
One of these things is not like the other.
Big ass pine snake in there, just chill. Like, it didn't look like he was having a bad time or anything, but like what? Like, is your enclosure being cleaned, or do we need to call lens crafters?
Someone blind.
Yeah,
that would honestly be like a pretty cool enclosure, though. If you have like a really big.
There was also about 100 southern toads in there, just like bebopping. Or I don't know either, man, but like it was cool.
That would
It's like,
honestly
look, you
be
want to see
really
nature?
cool
We
to have,
gave you
like,
nature. Shut up.
Dude, this is literally like drive 20 minutes in any direction out of any major city in Florida, and this is what you'll see. Now go home.
You've seen everything Florida has to offer. Now leave.
Toads and rattlesnakes and sand.
Yeah.
Go back to where you came from.
I would kill to see an EDB in the wild, man. Like, I've seen them in the wild, but I haven't found them naturally in the wild, so I don't count it. But I need it, man.
This year was the first year in a long, probably ever time that I've got even 2 in 1 year, and I did a whole lot more herping earlier in the season, but like I lucked out and cruised the littler one springish, and then me and my local buddy Nick, who's awesome, Nick Horton. He's does blah, 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 does like all kinds of like animal education around here and stuff. Also a really talented photographer and herper. But yeah, I was with him when he got his lifer a little while ago, a month or 2, and that was awesome. And it was also like a straight up like 5.5 foot.
I was about to say, wasn't that thing a fucking dump truck too?
Absolute dump truck, like, you know, like 4 inches of rattles, like just oh
God, dude, I would.
dude,
I would do so many illegal things to
it's
find
like a freaking subwoofer sitting on the middle of the damn road. Like,
That's
oh
awesome.
yeah, no, that like it that never gets old. Mainly because I'm not lucky enough to find them enough for it to get old, and I'm grateful for that. Obviously, I wish there were more, but you know, it's nice to find.
That would be one of the snakes. I could find one every day and it would not get old.
No, yeah, like
Like, dude,
if you get tired of finding rattlesnakes in general, you just take a break from it because like you're
I feel like the Eastern Diamondback is like it's the epiphany of pit vipers in the U.S. in my opinion. I mean, it's like what, the 3rd largest viper in the world, right?
something like that. Largest one on this
North America.
Yeah, it's the largest in the U.S., but I'm pretty sure
I don't know. Let me get Mean's book because he has an obscure stat where it's like the largest terrestrial cold-blooded vertebrate, like or something like that, and it's like, oh, it kind of,
yeah.
I don't know where the book is.
I know it's the largest pit viper in the U.S. I'm pretty sure it's either 3rd or 5th in the world. I can't remember, but I think there's the Bushmasters and the Fertilons.
Yeah, Bushmasters kind of trump everything on that.
Yeah, those are the longest vipers in the world. But as far as vipers, I'm pretty sure EDBs have number 3, if I remember correctly. Which, I mean, like, if you consider the world, that's incredibly impressive. And the fact that we have them just here in the Southeast is, I mean, doesn't get much better than that.
It's literally a thigh with venom.
Yeah,
just like crawling through the bushes.
It makes me so sad because I've got a buddy that is one of the guys I work with currently. He's an older gentleman. He was in surveying, 30, 40 years ago. And another buddy of mine who I used to work with, but he's a current surveyor and he's been a surveyor his entire life. And they both tell me stories about how, 20 years ago, wherever you were, if it was along the coast, I mean, obviously we're on the coast, but if you're like along the water where it's a lot sandier, he's like, you could find diamondbacks everywhere. Like there was no shortage, my coworker likes to tell me a story. He found 2 of them that were like 5-6 feet long and he brought them home and left them outside in this massive outdoor cage and, tried to feed him and all this stuff. And it was just,
I thought this was America.
Yeah, right.
No.
And he had him. It was fine. He ended up giving him to somebody else. I don't remember, the whole story behind it, but it's like they could find. My other buddy, he tells me all the time about like 6+ foot Eastern Diamondbacks that he would find just hanging out while he was surveying. Some really rural parts, but That's the thing. He was surveying for development, and
Yeah.
that's the problem. Like,
I grew up probably 20 minutes away from the Calvary rattlesnake roundup. I think it was in Calvary. Maybe that's where. Yeah, there's a big ass rattlesnake roundup. My entire youth, up until about 2 or 3 years ago, that was and it was just one of the bigger ones. And like Bruce Means writes about it in his books and stuff about taking his grandkids or kids to it and just being like, oh my god. And I remember going to it as a kid, back before I really gone down the rabbit hole as much as we all have.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, man, and like you hear people talking about that and being like, man, I just don't understand. We can't find them.
Where
like,
did they all go?
what?
I don't understand why we can't find them like that anymore, man. We used to be able to go out and just catch 30, 35 of them a day. And it's like, well, common sense would dictate that maybe that's why, but
2 and 2 makes 4, my friend.
But that, I can't tell that story without, adding an addendum that it has since been turned into a wildlife festival and they no longer do all those crazy things. At least
do that now. There's
I can't even go and see if it's like still like screwy or not, but like I just
yeah. There's one in Claxton, Georgia that I think it used to be a traditional roundup, but now I think they go back and re-release the majority of. I don't know exactly how they do it, but I don't believe they're slaughtering endless amounts of.
It's not just like a wholesale,
bloodbath.
I mean, it's the one in Texas that's still like horrible.
Oh yeah, well, I mean, the Atrox den up. Like I mean, EDBs, don't or either can't or don't den up like that, and so they would just go mark whole dens of them for these damn things. And
yeah, the ones out in Texas,
that was one of the big issues with all that is like wiping out dens.
Yeah, it's disgusting, man. It's sad. I know several older guys that have told me stories about. There's a herper that lived in this area, and he used to ride his bike down an area that I road cruise frequently. He would ride his bike with a backpack and collect Eastern Diamondbacks just as he just beep bop down the road. And I'm just like, dude, it's just
boy.
Like what I would not give.
Well, I mean, and
you have that.
By that token, you hear about Bruce Means like out at Tall Timbers, which is also like 20 minutes from here. Riding when he was doing his Gopher Burrow surveys out there, riding around on a dirt bike, doing EDB surveys, and I'm like, man, that never gets old. Never gets old hearing about that because that is capitalizing on one of the most two fun things in the world at the same time.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Dirt bike and Diamondbacks.
What? You mean to tell me?
Yeah.
Oh man.
Well, we are.
We'll find you one. It might take a couple trips, but
yeah,
we'll put an honest work in on it.
Well, I'm definitely gonna plan it. You're gonna be one of my first trips come spring because
you got a few spots. Bring a fishing rod. Pace it slow.
Springtime, I definitely plan on making a few trips to Florida. Florida is definitely my favorite place to herp.
Well, so. I need to make it up there. I got some buddies up there outside of the herpeticulture community.
And see, I can even take you fishing. Man. I said I can even take you fishing.
Hey man,
it ain't just
what I would be doing up there anyway.
That's right.
We might have to like drug Smitty and Shanghai him and he wakes up with a fish already on.
Yeah.
Just give me some monsters and some shade and some cigars and I'll whatever.
That's the most positive response to fishing I've ever heard from him.
You're not getting shade though when you're on a boat, my friend. There's no
problem. A big straw hat. And
yeah,
just bring me a fucking tent or something.
Yeah, but you're definitely going to be one of my first trips come springtime. I'm talking like
Yeah, come on, man. We'll plan it out.
Whether you like it or not, Jake is showing up at the front door.
Yeah, I'm talking like April.
Covered up in newspaper on my front door. Like, hey,
I'm here.
Yeah, no, I'm talking like April. As soon as it gets warm, my ass is going to be in your area.
hey, man. I got some 10 piles that I am not touching until then.
That's
So,
right.
What's up?
You better not touch them until I show up.
I might touch them one more again, but not too much. About that time. It's about time to pick the bow up and set down the hook for a couple of months.
There you go, man. Another good
Use
time.
the hook as the arrow.
Too many hobbies.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
What
I
kind
can't
of boat?
hit them with regular arrows, Smitty. Why am I going to fire a hook at them?
What kind of bow do you shoot?
Just say you could.
Bear, Divergent Echo.
Of course, it's a bear.
I like it. Okay, it's I haven't had the best luck with it since I've had it, but it hasn't all been my fault.
I was going to say, is it the bow or is it the user?
Oh, I mean, mostly me. I will
It's
say.
not-
I actually
The
don't.
bow doesn't make the
I've been
hunter.
so busy. Literally,
The hunter makes the bow.
archery comes in Saturday, and the thing is sitting in the case above my carpet python's cage back here from last year. I haven't shot it once, and I'm literally going to go like climb a tree and be like, "Well, here, let's see,
Let's see how it goes."
roll the
Dude,
dice."
I used to be so into archery, man. Like it was ridiculous. I never shot like indoor like BS tournaments, but I used to shoot.
No.
I used to shoot 3D tournaments like outdoors in the woods. You know, the first and only deer I've ever killed, I dropped on a corn pile with a bow. I could hit a quarter twice at 20 yards. You know, like I really got into archery for a period.
I'm really, really bad at it, but I like the idea of being a sneaky little tree demon too much to not do it.
It's so much fun, man. I literally got like we had a target because I worked at an archery shop, and that's why. And I literally I shot a bottle cap twice at 20 yards, and I was like, "Yep."
Well, this thing, my wife actually bought it for me for a birthday because I needed a new bow a couple of years ago. And almost immediately after getting it, I had one of my buddies over, and we were sitting around drinking Coors Banquets. Imagine that. And he dry fired it in my kitchen. And
oh no,
it freaking exploded. And it's been repaired. And so that's why I'm kind of hesitant to entirely blame myself for how bad I am with it. But
a bow is never the same after that.
I mean, we have a really good bow shop, but she's been put back together. She's like the RoboCop of bows, like, you know.
I would have
didn't let her die.
I would have lost my mind. Like
if I didn't like this person, yeah.
Oof. I tell you what though, if you ever want to upgrade, have you ever heard of Struthers?
Yeah.
Struthers is what I used to shoot. Elite's the best bow you can buy. Buck and Matthews, Elite, it makes the best bow you can buy.
It's hard to not get
Struthers is like a sister company. And Struthers is what I used to shoot because I couldn't afford Elite. So if you ever want to upgrade, Struthers is going to be your absolute best bet. I loved my Struthers.
I'm gonna make this one work for now. I need king snake money more than I need
yeah, I want to get back into archery, but
rack money more realistically. Yeah, no, man, it's fun. I had really planned on like shooting a lot more leading up to archery season, but you know, life had other plans. So now we're just gonna wing it. And hope we're not tracking deer for too long.
I'll say if you wing it, you're gonna wing a deer, my friend.
Been there, done that. I'm good at it.
Yeah,
I'm better at tracking than I am at shooting bows, which probably means that I'm doing something wrong. But whatever.
Hey, I mean, you know, you got to be about equal on that. If you can't track, you may as well not hunt, especially if you're
house.
So, yeah,
Especially if
tracking.
you bow janky.
Yeah, if you're bow hunting, you gotta know how to track. I got lucky. I shot mine, and I don't know how, but I dropped a doe on my corn pile, dead in its fucking tracks. So
I had a less happy experience. First deer I shot with a bow, I tracked for 3.5 hours and found him on a beaver dam in the middle of a lake, and
nice,
had to drag him off of that. But
nice.
that was all the encouragement I needed to get better, because I never want to have to do that again.
Yeah.
So we'll see.
Yeah. Well,
2 more days.
we are well over the 2 hour mark now. So
You made it.
if people are living under a rock and don't know where to find you, where can they do so?
Nothing wrong with being fossorial. Claiborne _H or something to that effect on Instagram.
I'll take that.
Eventually I'll probably change that. I'm going to brand myself, and Smitty's going to get a order full of pocket tees and Richardson caps, and he's going to love me for it. Not really, but yeah, Claiborne _H on Instagram. It's pretty much all snakes. You might see a deer or a fish every now and then, but that's about all I use for anything these days.
Nice.
Cool.
Well, good deal, man. Thank you for coming on for your second time. We're gonna have to make this a yearly thing, you know. Just
Dude,
come in and check in with
man. See what sort of ridiculous stuff is floating around here that's new.
What's Harry with Harry?
I like it.
Do we really want to know, though?
You know, hey, at least one or two cool things amidst all the Getula, Smitty. You know.
Yeah.
You know, I'm sorry that Leonis had to be your gateway drug, because that Kelly King didn't do it for you, but you don't realize that you're on your way.
Only Satan worshippers like Getula.
Oh man, you don't know. You don't know. You ever come over here, you're going to have to hold Mongo, this big 5.5 foot Brooks King that I have, that is just dog tame.
I can't be him.
He's wonderful.
Yeah, I cannot wait.
You got to wash your
kid
hands
was
first.
dog tame too, but somehow it kept latching itself onto my finger.
Oh, you got to wash your hands first, but then he's dog tame. It comes with the territory.
Awesome.
Well, this episode was brought to you by BlackBoxCages.com. Check them out. Facebook, Instagram. Grab yourself a rack. Grab yourself a cage. Use code THN at checkout. Save yourself a little bit of money. And then use that same code THN at checkout on FullViewsApparel.com. Get yourself a shirt. Don't be naked. Don't be weird.
I recommend the Splendida shirts.
That's right.
If you hug him enough, he'll make you tank tops.
I did a tank. I don't have a problem doing tanks. It's not a problem.
They're pretty cool. So is the Kratos one.
So check that out. And then Steve Snaketuary's Venom Hot Sauce. SteveSnaketuary.com. Help him out. Collect the whole set. Get yourself something nice. Hot sauce, shirts, racks, and cages. What else could you need? We'll be back Monday night for Snakes and Stogies 181. I believe we're going to be joined by Doc Loafman.
Ooh.
So should be a good one.
Dude, I'm always so sad that I can't make snakes.
You can. You choose not to.
Yeah, you have a whole week to weasel your way into being there.
I work my second job only on Mondays.
Call out sick on Mondays.
Yeah, start coughing now. Go ahead and lay the groundwork for it.
I can't do that every week. Did you
do it last week?
I literally work for tips.
Okay, fine.
Fuckers. I gotta work.
An excuse if I ever heard one.
I'm not gonna tell you what to do, okay, man?
I still listen. I listen every single week. Now that I actually listen to the podcast, I listen to y'all every single week, Justin. I already hear you babble enough on Thursdays.
Go ahead
I still listen.
I am not the babbler here. Okay.
Yeah, I still listen every week, but I work my second job on Mondays, so I cannot be there for the live feed. And every time I'm listening at work, I'm like, "Fuck! I wish I was
Every week, I'm just sitting there watching the chat, just hoping that one day Jake will pop in.
There would be an uproar.
One time, I hope Jake is there, and I'm like, man, I wonder if Jake's going to show up this week.
He's
and then
gonna,
like the
go to
kid
the
whose
bathroom
parents
for a
forget him
minute.
at the soccer game to pick him up. I end up sitting there in the rain, just waiting. Can't see my tears because of all the raindrops. And
Didn't have to tag as a country fan, Justin.
I got a tear in my beer.
I'm working, man. I don't know what to tell you. You know, I gotta work late Monday. I literally pull like a 14-hour day on Mondays.
Yeah.
I wake up at 6:30 to go to work at my day job. As soon as I get home, I shower. I go to my serving job, and I'm there till 10:30 at night.
You can catch the last hour of Snakes and
He
Stogies.
can stay up late to work, but he can't stay up late to watch Snakes and Stogies.
I go to bed.
Shit.
I neglect like chores for Snakes and Stogies.
Yeah, see, Harry, it's called initiative, and Harry's showing it.
Wow.
The second, so we're actually, the restaurant's going to be closing for like a week for like renovations or whatever. I will get on Snakes and Stogies.
Whatever will you do with yourself?
I will get on Snakes and Stogies. That's what I will do.
Okay. You heard it here, folks.
Yes.
Yeah, we have witnesses now. Everyone heard it. You'll be held to it.
Trust me, man. It pains me every time because like I listened to y'all today, and Phil,
I actually haven't listened to the new one yet because I don't want to hear about them finding that pine snake.
Dude,
oh my God,
that thing was nice.
As soon as I started listening and Phil was sending you the pictures, I was like, "Fuck! I wish I could have been watching this live."
Yeah,
I'll probably go on YouTube and watch it, Jake.
Yeah, I'll probably have to do that because I haven't listened to it yet, and it's gonna upset me to just listen to it.
Yeah, right. All right. Well, thank everybody for listening to another episode of the Herpetoculture Podcast. Snakes and Stogies will be back on Monday. We should be back here next week. Hopefully, we already have a guest lined up. I'm not going to spoil that because I haven't gotten a final answer yet.
It's me again. Spoiler.
Surprise, motherfucker.
Surprise, it's Harry. But so thank y'all so much for listening. You could be listening to anything. You chose to listen to us, and we really, really appreciate it. We seriously
appreciate it and sometimes ask why.
We're sorry.
Yes. So definitely check out Harry and all his endeavors, especially if you like Getchula. You will not be disappointed. So, but thank y'all again. We will see y'all on the next episode.
Later.
Bye.